Yeah, it was awesome.
And what's funny is he's the dude that he was like, I met him and he was like, you
Dude, yeah, I actually really did.
it's Blackberry Bramble, brought to you by Lost 40
Local
It's
brew.
local brew, and it's delicious. I only have the 4, so 2 of these are mine, you stupid bitches.
That's
No,
fine.
but Cody's a dude, which is hilarious. Is how I met him, is working at his dad's print shop. I got a job there because a buddy of mine worked there. And he was like, yeah, I play bass. And I was like, oh, okay.
You play bass.
You play bass. You're one of those guys. Yeah, I get it. I play bass too. But I didn't think, like, when I hear bass, I think, oh, you're a guy who played guitar and there was too many guitarists, so you had to play bass.
Yeah, so you knew how to use the top 4
No,
strings
he
of a
wanted.
guitar.
He's a bassist that wanted to play bass.
Yeah.
Like that was his first instrument. So he's like an actual bassist.
Dude, those people are like dangerous. Those people
they
are
really
crazy.
are.
And he was pretty new to it. I mean, like, he was good already, and then I think I knew him for a few years, and then we ended up having a bassist issue, and then I was like, well, I know this guy. We can try him out. We'll see how it goes. And then, dude, he fucking came in, and in one practice, we didn't send him anything because Lame Johnny, we don't have anything
to send.
out.
Yeah. Like, it's y'all's album y'all have right now is your recordings.
Right. So we didn't have shit. And it's just like, well, you have to show up and learn it, dude. We practiced like an hour, 3 songs he had completely down. And I was like, okay, you know how to play bass for real. Sorry I ever doubted you.
and not only that, but like he just progressively keeps getting better. Like,
His ability to walk down a bass now is awesome.
well, not only that, but just to be able to hear what you and I were doing, because a lot of our songs start as Corey and I just jamming, and then Cody will kind of like watch Corey a little bit and then start adding in his own shit. But it's also gotten to a point now where me and Cody will start jamming while Corey's doing something.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of build something off of that. There hasn't been a song yet that we've really completed or added more to off of a jam that Cody and I started, but I think sooner probably rather than later it'll happen.
Yeah, well, and it's that like bassist drummer connection
Yeah,
that's like really starting to form, man.
Well, I think that's one thing that's interesting about you and Ben is that Ben is very rhythmic.
Yeah.
And he plays, I think I would say, just as much awkward and weird lead harmonic stuff as Brennan.
Yeah, for sure. Like Ben has like these like bass intervals that he really
Yes.
likes, and then he'll just figure out chords that he likes to move them around. And Brennan plays off of that so well. Brennan's just knowledgeable enough to know what goes with
So,
that.
like, y'all's songwriting process, is it mostly just jams, or does someone actually come in with an idea?
I'd say it's a good mix. Like everything sort of comes about its own like way, but there have been a couple of songs who have been like somebody brings a song to the table. Like Ben has a lot of ideas like that. Like Elephant Tusk on this album was a Ben song. He
Right.
came in with that.
It sounds like a Ben song.
He was like, dude, like, do you guys want to put this on the album? We were like, fuck yeah. And
Yeah, it's usually pretty easy to tell when bands have like members that like that they're like the core songwriter and all that stuff. It's easy to tell when Ben writes a song and then when Brennan writes a song.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, like everybody will come in with like demos that they want to write, but it's this mindset of like, do not be attached to like the demo you bring kind of thing.
Right.
Like everybody's gonna just like come in and like rip it apart and like add something they think is cool, and then it's just it's the combination of the inspiration idea and like everybody jamming on it and fucking with it that turns into the song.
That works the same way with Lame Johnny and My Hands to
Right.
War. Like I do write the majority of the My Hands to War stuff, but when I bring it, especially when I'm writing drum parts, Corey and I have just gotten to the point now where we just know what the other person's
We're
gonna
basically
do.
writing the same shit.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. Oh, Justin wrote this part. Okay, well, this is what I would write. But if he already wrote it, it's like, well, I'd write that anyway. So
Yeah.
we're fucking linked.
Yeah. It's like 80% of my drum part is what Corey would play anyways, and then the other 20% is not necessarily Corey being like...
It's my failure.
Right.
I have a lot of inability. Actually, this is a great place to jump off and start getting into the main topic. But like, so to my right is Justin
Yo.
Cole, and
Yo.
then to my immediate center is newcomer and all around just total badass Hunter.
Yeah. if you guys weren't paying attention to the beginning when we started talking, Hunter plays drums for Couch Jackets,
Right.
which is an amazing local band.
Go look
and
them up right now.
Yes,
Oh,
they just
dude,
put out an
thanks,
album
you
called Go to
guys.
Bed. It's amazing. Corey and I
really
played a
is.
show with them in one of our other projects, and we were like, we have to be friends with these guys immediately.
And it was pretty.
Yes, it
immediate.
was. It was
Just
very
a
immediate.
couple of
We're like, hey, what's up?
Couple of conversations, man.
What's up? I'm Corey. I'm Justin. Hey,
But,
what's up? I'm Hunter. We're friends now. All right, excellent.
But one of the main things we all share. Well, actually, before we get into that, I just want to say we are now on YouTube and SoundCloud as well as Spotify.
We are on Spotify now.
We just got cleared.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they take the swears and all, baby.
I am going to look. I'm going to look that up right now.
Yeah,
Just-
please do, because I want to know if it actually posted, because I don't
Okay.
have Spotify, so
Okay.
I
Yeah, I'll
couldn't
look it
actually
up.
check. But we're also on a host of other things. If
Podbean.
oh, dude, Podbean, Castbox is another big one.
Never heard of that
We're
one,
on Apple, of course. We're on
Yeah.
Google Play. YouTube posts it, and now I'm going to be posting these to SoundCloud too. So there's so many places to get this.
How would do I need to just search like Crashcast all one word?
I would assume, or two. I don't know. I've never used Spotify, so I couldn't help you.
Damn, dude. I feel you there. I used to be a vehement like dissenter of Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
So was I until I started working at Starbucks, and
And
you get a free premium account.
Yeah.
So I'm all
Nothing
about
wrong
that.
with free. Yeah, I paid $12 for the Apple
very-
Music that I don't use.
The very first thing I did was a couple of years ago. I worked a Christmas setup, which meant I had to come in at like 3 or 4 in the morning and set up the store and leave at like 11. And once I did, my boss was like, "Oh, hey, we're on there. Is it 2 words?"
Yeah, I just typed in Crashcast, and then you'd have to like scroll down to the podcast results, because there's some band called Cash that comes up.
Well, and we're not that big yet, so it takes a minute. We're down like already on Apple. We're the number 1 hit
When you type in
because enough
Crashcast?
people have searched for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. We are on Spotify. That's
download
cool.
that ish.
I'm following it right now.
And for those of you who are unhip, ish is radio for shit. But speaking of being on the radio, actually, let's just get some of that stuff out of the way. Hunter is a fucking incredible musician, and I'm not just saying that because he's in the fucking room. I say that when he's not in the fucking room.
That's true.
That's what drew me to like, oh, I've got to know this fucking guy, dude, because his abilities are fucking ridiculous. And you're in this band, and it's called fucking Couch Jackets, and that's another thing. I was like, what fucking kind of goofy ass name is Couch Jackets? And then you watch you guys, and it's just like, holy shit. And we saw y'all, I think, relatively new, right?
Yeah, like as far as like having Harry in the band and all the songs we were playing, it was like a completely new set, like out
Right.
of the stuff we were playing. So yeah, like it was a brand new iteration of what we were trying to do.
And it's only become more and more flawless.
I agree.
Just watching, like, we haven't got to see each other in a while because y'all have been fucking on tour.
Yeah, man.
Y'all did Audio Tree, which
Audio Tree.
that set was incredible.
What's that on so we can...
It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on our
It is on
Spotify, now.
Spotify, yeah.
They're fucking awesome, and they like just port you all the audio recordings that they get of you, and then
Damn.
just put it on your Spotify for you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
so
it was
cool.
incredible. Like, shouts out to those guys just because it was
Just because,
fucking
yeah,
awesome,
for
man.
sure.
Like,
That's fucking cool, and you can, it's visual too, right? You can watch it on
Yes.
YouTube.
yeah. On
It's a-
YouTube, they have the sectioned off
'Cause the
tracks,
performance-
and
the
then the
performance
full
was great.
performance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Who was
I loved
there's like a cellist?
Yeah, that was actually Brennan's girlfriend. She's in this really cool band called The Accidentals. They're this like 3-piece folk band from Michigan, and honestly, like she's who we largely consider as our like 5th member a lot of the time.
Right.
And like she'll come in and help, and she's written like melody lines or like really cool like hooks for other songs that we've just kept because we love them so much. But
Yeah.
she was in the area and she had the time, and we were like, yo, do you want to play this Audio Tree with us? And we wrote the very first song on the Audio Tree is like a brand new song. We had never played it before. It was the first time on Audio Tree. And so she hopped on it and like got to do all kinds of cool shit. And then all of the stuff that was on the album that was like string work is also Katie. So
Oh, that's
she
awesome.
played all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's audio. I think Audio Tree is a great. Audio Tree is a way that I found out about a lot of bands.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't hear about it till Hunter posted something.
There's a band called Mothers.
I think I've seen their Audio Tree.
I don't. Yeah, it's that second recent
second
session. That's over over 12,000 views, dude. That's awesome.
Holy shit. You famous boy, you.
Yeah.
That's God,
Oh, dude,
that's
you
so
even got
tight.
top billing. Look at there.
100 Law
Damn,
drums. That's what's up.
dude.
What the fuck?
That's so cool.
Awesome, dude. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, and more. I don't know what the more is, but I'm guessing basically everything.
I mean, do you
I'm going to put a link to this in the. For
dude.
anyone listening,
Thank
I'm
you
going to
guys
put a
so
link to
much.
this
In the
performance
intro?
in the intro.
Yeah. You remember? I mean, I know you do from the past. You may not have listened to Bear versus Shark.
I remember them.
Yeah.
'cause you would-
When they got back together, they did an Audio Tree performance, and it's incredible.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw this or came upon this band called Palm was their Audio Tree session that they did, and they're this really like off kilter, wonky. I don't really want to say math rock, but it's like
Kinda
very
math rocky.
rhythmic kind of
Yeah.
stuff. They're from Philadelphia, but theirs is incredible.
There's
as
there's
well.
actually a lot of like math rock that's on Audio Tree.
Yeah, John's done at least one. I think they might have done more.
So they do heavy bands?
Oh yeah, dude, they do counterparts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was they were telling us about this band. I forgot their name, but they play in complete darkness. So they had Audio Tree cut all the lights during their session, and they all just have headlamps.
I
And they're
know
li-
who that is.
Oh,
They fucking played at the Village one time.
yeah.
Dr. Manhattan? No, it's not Dr. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it. It's not Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan hasn't been a band in a long time. You're talking about when we played with them?
No, yeah, they had headlamps and they turned all the lights
They did it for that one song called I'm High. And there was a guy that was sitting up front that came to the show, and he was up front, and he was actually stoned during the set. And whenever they got done playing that song, they cut the lights back on. He was like just like cowered up in his seat, and he was just like, I didn't like that at all.
And that's why Justin is my human notebook. I would literally not have remembered that at all.
No,
You
I-
say headlamps and lights out, and I'm like, I saw that once. It must have been the exact same thing.
And I had to prove you wrong. Dr. Manhattan was a great band, though.
Yeah, dude, that show was legit. As much as I remember of it, I remember that part.
It was Dr. Manhattan, Foxy Shazam.
But I was working too.
Yeah, you played the show and worked.
Yeah, and worked, so I was busy.
I was still on drums.
Speaking of drums, that's what we're really here to
That is
talk
why we're
about.
here. So the main meat of the topic today is drumming.
Wanted to get everybody introduced to our good friend Hunter here.
And the best part is I was actually thinking about this, and I was thinking about it as I pulled into your driveway before we started this. I can guarantee that all three of us have entirely different influences and backgrounds for drumming.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know what's cool about it. Hold on. Sorry if I sound like shit, it's because I woke up 2 days ago with an unreal head cold, and I'm still
Still fucked up over it. Yeah,
I'm still trying to get the
It's another
shit
cool
out of my
band.
face,
You should
dude.
check them out.
Head cold. Head cold. Another Little Rock band.
They are a good Little Rock band.
very
Actually,
good.
they're he was at our show.
The drummer was working the
drummer.
bar.
Oh, yeah,
Vino's.
Pat.
Yeah, Pat.
He was a bartender, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Pat and the guy who was running the door named Austin. They were in Lifer.
Ooh,
right.
No, those
Yeah.
are the two,
Lifer
those are
was
the
good too.
Those are the two dudes that used to help Sarah run shows at Soundstage
Oh, okay. Dope. Oh, right. Oh, because Pat
they-
used
when-
to do sound up there
when they were kids. Yeah.
Right.
Because
okay.
Pat and Austin are like in their like early. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they're in like early mid 20s.
Dope, dude. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And Keaton, but Keaton wasn't there.
So I was gonna say too, not only are our influences probably crazier, but also like I'm a huge departure from your two's talent. Like I have my own set of talents, but you guys are like,
Man,
you're
Corey's
both,
just really humble.
you're both teachers. You both teach percussion. You do it at Guitar Center. Hunter does it for a school. You're both fucking rudimentary as like y'all know all that stuff. You tell me, the only thing I know literally is what a paradiddle is, and that's only because I've seen people do it.
I
hold it in my
I
brain.
will agree with that Hunter and I have a lot more like theory behind us, but Hunter has a better grasp on it.
Definitely, I would say that that's true.
It's not only is it just like if like hearing you talk about it, but it's like watching you play. You have so much more rudimentary knowledge that you actually integrate.
But
into
he's
the
trained.
songs.
Where
Exactly.
he learned it, he's actually trained
Right.
for
yeah.
it.
I was about to say like I guess like I never was trained on drum sets specifically other than like a semester at college, and then but like I was like really intensely trained on marimba and snare drum and all of these places that all of the rudimentary percussion like stuff comes from. And then as soon as I got my first drum set, it was on. I was just like taking everything I learned at school and trying to put it on drum set.
Right. Well, like I said, it's just evident watching you play but
So-
you have a lot more grasp on groove, whereas like Corey and I are like, I'm a lot more like in terms of like the technical aspect of drumming, like each hit
yeah,
needs to be
dude,
placed here.
Yeah, and
You feel it out more, and Corey is just
I
like
feel.
you're
I'll
feel
feel.
completely.
I will go groove, but I won't know. I don't know what I'm doing. If that like
He knows how to do it. He just doesn't know how to explain
like if
it.
he shows
Yeah.
me a part and I just put a groovy drum beat behind it, it's because that's what I'm like, oh well, that's what's supposed to be here. Not because I'm like, well, if this means this and X is Y and blah blah blah. And y'all have like this mathematical version of what I just go, yeah, this sounds good.
Yeah.
Like I'll do stuff from time to time, and Justin will be like, dude, what the you just did a this, that, and the other thing, and I'm like, okay. He's like, no, that's really awesome. Like that's not, and because sometimes I'll hit with these moments where I just do shit that I've never done
Yeah.
on accident, just because I'll be bored waiting on someone to come or whatever, and I'm just playing drums. You know how it is.
Yeah.
The drummer's the loudest, and everybody hates him till the practice starts. But I'll be doing stuff, and Justin will just be like, dude, you just did a whatever this count of music and blah blah blah, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. He's very just like, I'm like, oh, I really like that that unintentional like polyrhythm you did. And he was just like, cool. He's like, I was just playing.
Right. and then I'll add it into the song, because then once see, there's the thing is like, I can hear it and I can't play it. But if I do it once by accident,
Yeah. You can always play
my
it.
muscle memory is almost instant.
Yeah.
Here's a funny thing. This is a I'm just going to tell on myself. I cannot play a D beat. And I only know what that is because I can't play it. And Justin wrote a song that for the new My Hands to War record that has a D beat in it. I'm like, I don't know, dude. And me and him sat in there for 2 hours
Hours.
at least. 2 hours at least. And me just running over this one part. And I'm like, I can't get it. And I'm like, hold on. We take a breath. I can tell he's pissed off at me because I'm not getting it.
It's one of the few times where I'm legitimately getting just like frustrated, just like, dude, Corey, like you can't get it. Just stop.
And
it.
then I'm like, okay, well, just follow me. Like, just you play the part over and over and over, and I'm gonna hear it in my brain, and I'm gonna do something that I want to do. And then, oh shit, I'm sorry. And then,
No, I'm thinking about how when I re-put it in the Tux file, how it sounds and everything now. It sounds so fucking amazing.
I end up writing. Not only is the part probably better than it was, but it's actually harder to play. Like even Justin struggles with the playing because it's such a violent part
Yeah.
that instead of just because he can do the D beat and I can watch him do it.
And instead of going do God do God do God do God do God do God like that,
Yeah.
he actually he has it going. It's double bass the whole time. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing like
And that's
crash,
blast
crash,
beats
hi
stuff
hat.
for like
Yeah,
dotted quarter
he
stuff.
turned it into blast beat, but it's double kick the whole time. It's like 32 measures
And it's probably 200 plus BPMs.
ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it goes into the under oath part.
And but this is how I count it. So my feet are just doing what they do.
Yeah.
Not that's the best part about
I mean,
my
you can
drumming.
like set it and forget it with like 16th note double bass.
Well, I
stuff.
think that's my strongest feature is my double bass abilities. I have really
You can
strong,
kick for days.
I really have really strong feet, and I just can. I can go for days fast as fuck. I don't need tight heads or anything like that. I just go.
Yeah.
So that part is easy for me. Like I'm just whatever.
Flutter feet.
But it's literally just I count it out in my head, and I don't even know what it's in, but I just go.
It's in 4, but it's just da na na na.
Okay, see that's what you're saying, but here's how I go. In my brain, I go 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's literally what I'm doing as I'm playing it. So I'm ridiculous, dude, and I'm self-taught, but I'm self-taught literally. Like no one was around to teach me drums. That's because we didn't have any drummers. All the drummers in school were taken. I wasn't friends with any of them, and I wanted to be in a band too. And there was guitar players galore, like always.
Yeah.
There's fucking guitar players to the in a goddamn time, and there's no fucking drummers, especially like
That's
really
the truest
good ones.
statement I've
Oh,
ever
dude,
heard.
getting $100 acoustic guitar is way easier than like getting anybody on
Dude,
piano
the
lessons.
$600
or shit
drum
like
set.
that.
The cheapest drums are going to cost you $800.
Yeah.
That's hardware, cymbals, heads.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you don't really have to buy heads, but hey, here's a pro tip: buy fucking new heads.
Ye-
I don't care.
Oh, and dude, when I worked
Is
at
that a
Guitar
slide at
Center,
me?
that was like every day, like people looking at a sticker price on just like a shell pack or like a drum set, and it's like, okay, like that's all we have to pay. And then it's like, wait, you also need cymbals. And oh, if you want a cymbal, you need a stand. And
Yeah, and if you want to play the fucking kick drum, you need a pedal because it doesn't come with that.
oh, and wait, like if you're not trying to just like sit on an ice cooler or some shit like that, you got to buy like $100 throne.
Yeah, and guess what? A chair isn't the right ergonomic to play, so you can't just use a chair. You'll do it, and then about a week later, you're gonna go buy a throne.
Yeah.
Oh man, the struggle is so fucking real with drumming, dude. Even the cheapest drum set costs an arm and a fucking leg.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean your guitar was $200 and your amp was $100 because you bought a combo amp? Okay, woo. That's my one fucking cymbal.
Oh, dude, and that was the struggle growing up, was like saving money for like an entire year to buy one cymbal.
That's my whole life, dude. I'm 34 fucking years old. I still.
Dude, how long did it take us to finally get those cymbals?
It took me 2 months of saving to get and side jobs. And Justin, we have a deal where if because we use the same equipment,
Yeah.
where if I can get side work, he comes and helps me for free, and then I'll buy the gear with the money we make.
Oh, dude, that's an awesome
So
deal.
it's like 50-50. I mean, I do.
Having that discount also
Here's
rules.
the bullshit part: is I'm usually done with the job by the time he gets there.
And like he'll tell me a decent time to get there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I come out. It's usually like sometime in the morning, like after I've already done like an early shift at Starbucks, and I'll come out there like I'm already coffeeed up anyway. So it's just like, yeah, let's fucking go. The last job I helped him do, he was like, yeah, man. He was like, it's just gonna be like a lot of up and down. He's like, I'm gonna have to like rip up this flooring and all that stuff. I get out there and he's like 80% done.
I was like, yeah, it's already laid. All I really had to do was like, it was nothing. But anyway,
And like I always tell him like I feel like I'm not doing enough. He's like, dude, he's like just sitting out here and like talking to me and like running cuts while he can just stay in
that
there.
really does
Yeah.
mean more than you realize. Like just for my
having
mental,
an extra person, like,
well, just being able to, dude, I'm a talker.
yeah.
I started a whole fucking podcast because I'm just like, I don't shut up. And just having
But
somebody
when he came up with the idea for having the podcast like 2 years ago, it's because he just wouldn't shut up. He wouldn't shut up. So we kept talking about it. He's like, dude, he's like, I should do a podcast. I'm like, yeah, you fucking should. Because you have you have the brain to talk about anything.
anything, dude, anything.
I'm waiting for the day. I don't know who's going to be here at the table. It could be like a huge deal. It could have like 8 people or something, like share mics. But just
I can hook up 8 people.
conspiracy theories.
Oh, it's
man.
coming.
Yeah.
It's
That episode needs to be a special episode.
It will be.
Yeah,
It's
we're
gonna
going to
be
need to set
hours.
us.
It's gonna be 2 parts.
Yeah.
Because if the people, I've already got 3 of the people I want for that episode confirmed. Like they're just all I gotta do is tell them a date. Holy fucking shit, man! Because some of my friends are tinfoil hat, like legit. They don't even have cell phones, bro. It's
my
Satellites in
God.
their
Yeah,
teeth.
dude. And some of them are former U.S. military. Like
Oh, dude, and that just gives it like
it
all
just
the
gives
more
it weight. Yeah, man.
It's just
It just-
like,
it's like, well, if anybody's gonna fucking know, it's the one guy who was doing shit with it. But I'm I fucking love a good conspiracy, man. Some of them I'll just be like, whatever. And some of that stuff you really do have to sit there and think like, shit.
just like, why can't this be true? And
Right.
then-
And plus, dude, even if it is true, one, that's some dark ass shit. That's
Yeah.
scary if it's real. It's scarier than anything if it's real.
well, and dude, where are the positive conspiracy theories? I haven't heard very many of those.
Care Bears was an inside job.
Oh no.
But dude, back to drumming. So like my fucking whole abilities just come from just do it. We were talking about creativity, and my creativity more is direct. Whereas like we were talking about gaming is what it was. I feel like Justin can get lost in a story or get lost in playing music for hours. Well, I like most people don't know this. I don't practice. I don't practice. I learned at practice because I have an end point. So like mine is, here's the goal. Like we want to write this song. Okay, let's just work on this song. If that's what we're really going to do today, and it's just let's get it done. If we don't get it done, 9 times out of 10, we don't use the song.
Fact.
And more or less, it's because of me. I just don't want to. Like if it didn't get done in the hour or two, then it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And I've been that way forever, dude. I've been that way forever. If I can't accomplish it in what I deem is enough time for it to be done, fuck it. It wasn't good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've abandoned more songs than I've ever written. I mean, uncontrollable amounts. But I'm just more direct with my creativity where I'd like you guys, y'all actually are learned. Like you know all the stuff. I can be like, dude, I'll tell Justin like if I'm doing X and I want to get to Y, how would I do that? And he'll just be like, well, you'd have to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, and he'll have to show me.
Well, that's more in terms of just like traditional songwriting method. Whereas like, but you and I have also gotten to a point now where we don't write songs with like, if we write a riff, sometimes there's no transition. It just goes into another riff. And like to most people, they're just like, well, that's too abrupt and all that stuff. And like, that's more of like your,
well, but me and you also came to the agreement that whatever comes out is what it is.
yeah,
Because we've been writing songs together for
10 years.
Yeah, 10 fucking years, dude. And it's just that now we're just like, the song is the song. Don't question it. The flow, just let it be natural. Even if it is abrupt, it's still natural because our brains are fucking so crazy, dude. I mean, that's just like how I have conversations. Listen to any episode of this podcast. We just went on a 5-minute tangent and we were talking about drumming and then we just went off the fucking rails. That's how my brain works when I write, too. So if I'm going with like this strumming bar chord on the 4th fret, the next obvious thing would to either be go down a couple of frets or forward a couple of frets, right? No, I might go straight down to 12 and just start doing some chugs. There's no telling. Or I might just go to a death note and with an open, blah, you know? I play guitar too.
That's my favorite sound. Blah.
But do you think, because I've never had a problem writing. I'm not a learner, but I'm a writer. I can't learn shit. Like when it comes to musical instruments, dude, there's a song by Blink-182 called Keep It Together for the Kids. It took me years to learn that fucking song. Years. It's the simplest shit in the world, but there's something in my brain that just has a block on. If I didn't write it, I don't really care that much about it. And even the songs I care the most about, I couldn't play if you fucking paid me $1 million. So I play from like my heart. I write. All I do is write. Do you guys think like, and we just go around the table, like y'all's training, does that help more with like, do you rely more on your feel or do you rely more on your training, typically speaking?
That depends.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty like split down the middle on that.
Right. I mean, if you want to go ahead and say your part, you can.
Yeah, like I'd say there are times when I will recognize something that whoever I'm playing with is doing, and I will logically know what that is. I'll like sit there and I can break it down, and I'm like, and that sort of gives my mind like an area of like different things I can do that would sound a certain way with it. And then at other times, like what I feel might not even be in that realm, and I try to do it like do something completely different. And then other times I'm even just looking at like a composite rhythm being made around everybody that's playing. It's like this amount of like agreement between each person and the rhythms that are happening. And so it makes this really cool composite rhythm that if you think of it void of like tone that happens. But yeah, it's like everybody's gears just turning together and like working really well. And it's like whatever will fulfill that for me is usually what I go for.
That's really interesting that you said that because like, whereas I rely on how I feel the part, and it takes me so long to get to a feeling about a part. Like I said with that D beat, it was hours of trying, and I just was not getting it. And for some reason, I just have a mental block. And sometimes I'll do it, and I'm just like, but I'll do it for like 1 little second. But Justin's like, well, in the middle there, you hit it. And I'm like, but I don't know. Because I was in the middle of something else, and it was on accident.
Yeah.
So like,
that just appeals to my frustration about it. It's like, because to me, a D beat is so fucking easy.
But that what he's saying is crazy because if you feel the same way, whereas you guys can play with anyone and basically have like this mathematical bubble map of, oh, he's doing this, so that fits into my area of expertise here. These are the beats I know for that X. Okay, here's all the Y, and this is how we're going to make it happen in real time.
Right.
Whereas me, I have to wait for the change to actually happen. The only person in this whole fucking world that has played music with me and put up with me long enough is Justin, and we have that. But we have that because we've done it so much. Where you guys can do it with fucking anyone because you already know the equation. That's wild, dude. I never thought of it like that.
Well, and there's an amount of it that is like the person you're playing with. Like there's a subconscious amount of feel that exists in any musical situation, I feel
agree.
like. And like with some, like with Brennan and Ben, for instance, both of them, they came to like my place when we were going to start Couch Jackets. And the reason I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt I wanted to be in that project was we sat down and played and everything. Like I was so into what was happening. I didn't have to think about it. I wasn't thinking about any of my training. It was like a purely feel situation. And all of my training was just that my hands knew how to move a certain
that
way.
muscle memory.
Yeah.
So I was going to kind of piggyback off that. So an instance that I can explain to kind of piggyback off yours first, Corey, is so you're talking about the little bubble maps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, I would probably kind of assume that what you're seeing is for Hunter and I, basically you have in a bubble, you have riff or part.
Or like all your knowledge.
Right. No. I'm saying when you're playing with somebody else to get into your comfortability and that one specific area that you think that is feel with theory.
Yeah.
So you're seeing it as like you said, like bubbles. So you got riff, part, whatever. Basically, there's all these overlapping Venn diagrams that can either be huge or small, that to where you're feeling the riff, but you're also applying your theory and your knowledge and all that stuff to where it just basically zigzags patterns in and out until it hits the small bubble where both of those are complementary.
Right.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. That's how you're kind of seeing it.
That's how I view it.
That's kind of how I think both of us see it, but just like
I think you
visualizing
guys
is different.
I think you guys are more immediate with your writing, whereas like you said you make this zigzag pattern, so you could like it's like a V of zigzags till it comes down to this one point where you're like this is the thing. But you guys mathematically got there, whereas mine looks like a fucking autistic kid's drawing. You know what I'm saying? It's just lines and circles, and I'm trying anything I can to find the end point of this art piece that I'm creating.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
Well, and I'll definitely say it's not in any way, shape, or form a perfect science for me.
No,
at this
not at
point.
all.
Like,
nothing is, and that there's multiple ways to get to 9. You know, if you're in math or whatever, like there's multiple ways to find 9. You know what I'm saying? But y'all have whereas y'all have a calculator, all I have is my pen and paper.
Got an abacus,
and I'm just trying, and I'm just trying every little thing because, like, dude, there's parts that I'll be like, Justin, I'll literally make him loop himself, and we will not get out of that part for sometimes, man, like
hours.
Just unreal amounts of time, and I'll be drumming the whole fucking time, and every beat will be different, and if I don't like it, I just don't use it. I'll just nope, next beat. All right, we got to think of something.
I think that speaks to your quote unquote lack of talent that you always talk about because you're just being humble and all that stuff, but like you're using your natural ability that you already have. It's intrinsic that you've built.
Yeah,
like you've all to me you've always been an amazing drummer. To me, you've only gotten better through practice, progression, and patience.
My aha moments. The last 2 years,
your eureka moments when you come up with shit that's different from what I come up with. That I'm just like yeah. Everybody brings in stuff that's different and it fits the song, and I'm okay with it. Like I don't have to. I still feel like I don't have to compromise. But there are times where you do stuff, especially when you started doing the double kick roll on Scholars, which is an almost 10-year-old song at this point. When the first time you nailed that, like I stopped playing and I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah,
because I looked straight at him. I was just like, I'd never heard him do that. And it fit the song, and it rolled in perfectly. Like all of us, like especially Todd and I, who wrote the song together, we were just like, "What was that?"
Well, in recent years, like the last 2 years, I've gotten this ability to the things I've been playing. I can now hear the amount of time, the phrase, I guess it is, the amount of time between that one part from start to finish.
Yeah,
like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the whole phrase. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I'd say that. Like, so just
I've learned that. In that phrase, if I want to speed up and or slow down or even stop, I've learned to recognize in that amount of space I can do different things. So I've definitely in recent years, like all the old songs, I'm playing 10-year-old songs, and I'll do stuff that I've never ever done, and it just goes right in the mold. But it's not like I'm thinking about it when it comes up. It just comes out of my fucking fingertips like lightning. And that's it.
I'd say that, like, even for me, there are an amount of, like, I'll sit in a groove, and I think what you're talking about is, like, when I first started playing drumming, there's the, like,
that's super basic.
That's my favorite thing to teach students.
You did every Lars Ulrich drum beat of all time.
Yeah, and so, like, that's there, and you know, like, oh, this takes like 2 measures, 4 measures, whatever like phrasing you want to use, but then like starting to elongate past like how much time is in a measure and how much time I have to do something, and thinking of phrases as your main timing. That's way more of a melodic and like musical way to like start thinking about drumming. And even now I have like go-to like fills or types of fills I have, and I know like immediately feeling wise how long they're gonna take and what beat I'm gonna end on and that kind of thing.
See, I had a real. Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I was gonna say, to piggyback off Hunter's thing about feel and all that stuff, I can use the show the other night as an example. So I played the other night. I played 2 sets in a row. I played with Tribe
You kicked
Alive.
ass too, dude. By the way, I didn't say Tribe Alive. It's a new thing. I guess y'all are gonna keep going. I talked to Danny. He was like, "Dude, I'm gonna start doing this."
I told Danny when time allots, I am more than down to keep doing it.
Dude, it was so fucking good.
So two things I can speak on to that. So I already knew the material.
Of course.
Because Danny always shows me songs, all that stuff, and most of the stuff that we played the other night, he put out on his EP that he recorded with DJ at our old house.
Yeah.
So I knew like 2 or 3 of the songs from that. So the first one down it's really simple. It's just like 2 or 3 chord changes and all that stuff. He had sent me like a rough version a long time ago, so I already knew that song. The only one I didn't know was the second song we played, which is called Traveling. That was actually when he sent us the list of songs he wanted to play. He said, "This is new. No one's heard it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And like with the transition that we go from like the swing groove to the 3/4 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was the very first practice with him, Tom, and I. He was like, "I want to transition the chorus into 3/4," because he played Tom and I the song front to back, no stops, with all the words the way he had originally written it, and there was no transition at all. It was just that swing the whole time.
Wait, is that the one where y'all built up and then went right into another song?
No, that was between 4 and
Okay.
5. But I'm about to get to that. So so the one that sounded like dream poppy, like the Beach Boys.
Yes.
Okay, that song I actually listened to the original version on my break. It's a lot more like swing folky.
Yeah.
And Tom and I had played it through like twice at practice.
It had a
Like-
very the almost monster vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole set was so fucking clean,
Yeah.
dude.
So when we started practicing that song, we get to the third practice when we added Luigi on bass, and he goes, "I want to restructure this completely." And I was like, "Well, what are you thinking?" And he's like, I don't know. So we just like sat on it a minute, and he and like Luigi was like learning the chord progressions, and so he and Tom were just doing, especially the that fall off thing that they do. I was like, dude, why don't we just speed it up and make it like poppy? And he was like, so make it happy? I was like, yeah, this song's super sad, but the progressions are like, that's a pop song. The structure of the song is pop song as fuck. So the first time we ran it through the way we played it is pretty like it's been the same. And then the last practice we had before the show is like right before that, when Danny does like the jazzy chords and just sings by himself. Tom and I had the idea, it's like, what if on that last part was just like, a huge build up, and then it just stops. And then Danny just plays those chords and just sings. And then we just go into like the big power opening into the last song.
Yep.
That was like a last minute thing.
It was perfect.
Yeah. No, that was really
So,
good.
but the thing about that, I was telling Taylor this because he came into the store the other day. I was like, this is not Danny's first show. I was like, Danny has played shows before, but this is that was his first show with his own original material.
It was
And
so good. dude.
Danny's already an incredibly
Well, and
great
he was
vocalist.
so nervous and like, dude, the show. Listen, first fucking show should not have been that good.
That's what I told him. That's what I told him when we got done and we started moving stuff for Lane John. I was like, dude, I was like, you crushed it. And he's like, man, he's like, I don't know. I was like, dude, for your first show, I was like, this couldn't have gone any better.
Dude, literally no one stopped watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
No-
were
not only
locked
did no
on,
one
and
stop
it
watching-
was him.
Yeah, no one knew what to expect either,
know.
except for the three of us on stage that were.
There were moments like the first time he broke into his falsetto, the entire room swooned. You could like feel it, like in that kind of thing. And it's
I
just
just
having
got a
vocalist.
shoulder buzz
Chill,
just
yeah.
from you saying that because
Dude.
I remember that exact moment.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck, that dude can sing,
Well, and
man."
it's just captivating when somebody like does something that sounds that good, like in a live setting. It's like you see stuff like that these days in like YouTube videos where it's like, oh, this person with an incredible voice, and you know it's going to be fucking fantastic, but you don't go to a local show expecting to be like
Right.
captivated
to
like
get fucking
that.
Freddie Mercury.
Well, it's
Dude, his voice is pretty.
it works in my favor, especially since I've known Danny for so long and I've known his talent, and like he's like his singing has gotten just so incredibly better. Like when he first started singing, he was a dude who was just like, I want to do a bunch of high notes and hit Anthony Green shit.
Right.
And then he finally started listening to music and like getting inspired in the way that he feels more inspired. So like this stuff to me, like, yeah, it's full band, and like, yeah, I still think he should probably record just like by himself. I don't necessarily think that he should record everything he writes full band. I think he needs to keep it his singer-songwriter
Right.
kind of bubble for a little bit at
Well,
least.
it writes good tunes, man.
Yeah. No,
Honestly, if he did that for every song and then you guys flavored it,
Exactly.
like what y'all did with
Exactly.
because that is what that was.
Yeah.
That was his acoustic stuff that ended up getting flavored up by a bunch of other people's eardrums to the
Yeah.
same music.
and plus, Tom, who played in Heart for a Hand for, so many
I
years.
know. And dude, he fucking crushed it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and just something I wanted to say to you that night after your Tribal Live set, but y'all were so like in the sauce, man, like
Right.
trying to get ready for your Lame Johnny
Yeah.
set, was your drumming for his music was like the most intelligent drumming I had ever seen coming like out of your hands. And what I mean by that even is just like there were parts in those songs that sounded like you were like a studio musician. You were like a
Right.
Nashville studio musician. You were like hitting all of those like perfect like little like cymbal like filigree kind of stuff, and you were hitting everything was just perfectly in the pocket and right where it needed to be. It sounded like you a recording of the
So-
drums.
and I've only got to witness those things a few times because normally when we're playing, it's fucking loud, fast,
And
pissed off,
Yeah.
together.
and together. But like, dude, being able to like see it, I was gonna say the same thing, dude. Watching you play drums, which I have not done in years because I'm on the stage, but getting to just sit in the crowd and
Yeah.
watch. First off, I haven't seen you play drums soft in half a fucking century.
Right.
Like,
it's not normal.
it's not normal at all. And the way you were able to, this is something you don't do that often either, is you were able to throw your power around because you're a heavy hitter. I'm a heavy hitter. Fucking, you're a heavy hitter, but you have that finesse too, though.
Oh,
You
I've
gotta-
had to learn to like control back like a ton.
I was like saying, like, that's what you do for your band. I've never seen him actually do. Just watch. Usually, I'm the one playing guitar, so I get to see it, but it's not the same thing. I don't get to take it
it's
in.
like snapshots of
It's
like this
snapshot,
person
exactly.
doing what they're doing.
And then I'm sitting there watching him go at it, and then like the parts would get bigger, and his power would go up, and then he would bring that shit down to next to nothing. I think there was only literally, dude, like one part that I was like, oh, he went a little too. He got excited. Like there was
Yes.
like one part where he got excited, and I was like, because you smashed a crash, I think.
Yeah.
And everyone else was still. kinda
I know
like,
exactly what part you're talking
Right.
about.
But that's
That was an accident. That was an accident. That was a complete accident.
right. So there was like, I mean, dude, that was so good. I was so thrown back because I knew Danny. I knew all you guys are good. I know you all. But holy shit, man, I was not. It's like one of those shows where you just aren't ready for the good shit.
yeah.
So what I can say to both of you on that is why I definitely appreciate your boosting me up. It makes me feel really good to knock myself back down. I like, and then this is nothing against Danny. If Danny listens to this podcast at all, I forced myself to compromise power to do what served his song.
Right. Well,
And
that's,
that's what I told him literally when we met outside of Thomas's house the first time for practice. I was like, I know what you want, and here's what I want. I was like, through this practice of me learning these 5 songs, we're gonna find that medium. I was like, if we don't find it in this first practice, I'm not gonna feel comfortable doing this for you.
right.
And we were once we nailed down the new song, Traveling, I was like, I know exactly what to do.
He has a song called Traveling.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the second song.
To sort of like hop off of that idea, and one we were talking about earlier was I feel like the immense amount of training that I have gone through, like just in percussion in general, there were so much times where I'd have an angry band director, or like you were saying, there weren't a ton of drummers around. Like I was the only drummer at my school, so I default got pushed into jazz band and all kinds of stuff, and it was just like over and over again iterated to me, like, you are there for support. Like, you are there solely to make other people shine. And like that's true of like jazz musicians and like solo sections or like just through anything. And
Right.
so I think I personally, like, in doing that, that's what I look to do when I'm writing a drum part, is to see what other people are doing, and if I can make their part better, I might suggest something, but if not, I'm going to compliment it in the best way I know how.
That's so interesting.
Which I honestly, I think that's given me a little bit of a block with soloing. Like I never drum solo. Like I never do anything that's like a super extended fill, just because like I'll play super fast stuff. I'll play something that is like a more complex fill, but it's always because I feel like it goes with a melody
necessity.
line. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's right for
So you
what's
play
happening.
more out of necessity.
Yeah.
Right. That's interesting because I don't have that at all. Like I don't.
See, you think you don't, but that goes back to the loud gas part that you spent 2 hours trying to learn this, to me, incredibly easy beat, and then you decided to
Right.
make it more complex. But to me, it like, especially like hearing it back in my head now and all that stuff, it makes it sound better. It makes me want to, once we perform that song, it's going to make me want to go fucking hard as shit.
Well, you said, what were you saying? I'm sorry. I'm trying to process this whole conversation in real time.
There's a map, a bubble map.
It's like a circle. It's a circle. We're just going in circles.
That's my favorite part of that
Time
whole
is a
movie.
flat circle, man.
No, but that's super interesting, man. Because I like all the things you're saying. I feel like that's where we come in, and you're like we're so polar opposite when it comes to those kinds of things. Because I'm so lost in my own world, dude. Like I'll literally, you can ask Justin, dude. I get so lost in my own shit, I'll forget songs I've been playing for 20 fucking years.
Yep.
So, like we'll be playing middle of the fucking song, and I'll just stop. Like, oh, sorry, dude, I was in fucking La La Land. Like I have no idea where I was just at. I'm such a weird individual when it comes to that stuff, man.
Yep.
And you have like this. It's cool to talk to somebody who has like this structured ability, because Justin has it too. But when me and him are playing together, it's on the opposite sides. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll be playing drums and I'll be playing guitar, or I'll
Vice
be playing
versa.
drums and he'll be playing guitar. But we help each other write, and
Well,
hopefully,
I was about to say that I think that's the only difference between you and I and Hunter, is that we're kind of a package thing, whereas Hunter's like his own entity.
right. Hunter could go be in anything. If
I
Couch
agree.
Jackets decided they were going to break up tomorrow, you'd be in a band.
Yeah,
Like there would be no
people will be stupid to pass up an opportunity to have Hunter play in a
if
band.
the second y'all had like a band breakup post, people would be texting you like, "Oh, he's free,"
Yeah, I agree.
and whoever got you would be luckier than a motherfucker. Because I don't know that I'll ever play music with anybody else. To be honest with you, I mean I'm not like ancient, but I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
And at this point, the other two bands are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So it's like, why the fuck would I even?
And plus, like try to find people who can deal with you like I can,
Right. Yeah, I'm unique.
asshole.
Right. I just know what I want, man. And sometimes the only way to get there is just to bulldoze shit to the ground. It's just the way I've always done it. And sometimes it's just get out of my fucking way. Like I don't like interruption. Like just fuck off. I'll get it done, and then it'll be done, and then we're there. But it's not always in the best manner.
Yeah.
I don't say things
Well,
correctly sometimes.
And it sounds like you said, you don't practice. And I
Imagine
think,
if you did.
yeah,
Imagine that.
in a way,
It'd be
that makes somewhat like you having a goal, like a destination you would like to reach. And that's one of the things with practicing well. Like anybody can practice, but like practicing well is what's going to give you the best like opportunity
Yes.
to retain what you're getting.
Yes.
And so when you have a goal, like when you go to a band practice and you want to learn something, that is the destination you're trying to reach, which in a lot of ways that gives you a very straight line down what you are like learning. You are learning what is necessary at the time.
Yep.
And like rather like us, I think the difference in what we were talking about even in knowledge base is just like from practicing or from doing other things. It's sort of just like sometimes I feel like I have too much. Like it's just like I could do anything here. Like what the fuck do I do? And I guess like the train of thought I was going on was like, in some ways, I think that's really like that's a useful thing in the way you specifically work. And for a lot of the times, like when I don't practice, I feel so drained of creative energy.
Really?
Because I feel like practice a lot of the time is where I generate new ideas and I come up with new ideas as to like what I can do with beats. Because like I'll go in and I'll sit down and I'll warm up a little bit, and then it's like, okay, I want to try some shit in like 7/8 today. And it's like, what's the weirdest stuff I can make in 7/8 with like the rudiments and everything I know? And then I may come up with something, or I may come up with like a really cool 6 beats out of this 7/8 pattern I'm trying to make. And then I can use that for 3/4.
Right.
And then just like have all these cool ideas that I'm ruminating on coming into a rehearsal.
See, I was about to say kind of 2 things off that. It's like I actually get more inspired when I'm away from an instrument, because it makes me want to like, especially like if I've got access to Tux guitar and all that stuff, like I can sit there and work on the idea and let that fester in my head. Like I have this initial idea. Where does it go? Is it going to be an intro? Is it going to be like a chorus riff? Is it going to be an outro or like a breakdown or something? And then like, that gives me the idea of like, oh, this can branch off of this and link to this, maybe through a transition, maybe abrupt.
Right.
And also, what was the other thing? I just had it in my head and I lost it. But yeah, kind of like no, practicing well. So I don't practice either as often as I should. But imagine if we did, Corey, how much better we'd be.
Well, that's weird too. I don't think I would be better.
You don't think so?
No, I don't know, because
Well, maybe not necessarily in drums, but like guitar.
well, like I used to like guitar for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so my guitar playing has been a weird journey on guitar. I got to a spot and I was doing really well. Like I was getting to like learning how to do sweeps and stuff. Like I was super interested in it, and I would actually like seek stuff out for that. Like guitar is different from my drumming, but and then I didn't play guitar for like 5 fucking years because I just started drumming full time. And I picked the guitar back up for Lame Johnny, and my ability surprisingly was still decent. Like I'm not left hand strong, and that's a conversation for a different day. But my right hand is dominant for sure, and the pickability or whatever you want to call it, and
Well, that's like Dave Grohl, man. His whole thing was that like playing guitar is the same as playing drums. You got your like bass drum down here on the E string, and you got your snare drum.
That's
like,
me and him are very similar in that aspect. Like I view it, they're almost identical. Like me and bass guitar. Like I played bass in a band for a while, dude. That's just a drum set with strings. That's all it is. That's how I viewed it. That's how I played it. Like I would do drum beats on a bass guitar is all I was doing. And then we're like, oh man, you know, I had a lot of fun doing it. But to that note, I don't do that with guitar unless I want Justin to do the beat I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, that's the only time. Oh, rookie mistake, left that ringer on.
Piece of shit.
fuck me, right?
Well, like I've been like there's a drum, like drumming for me is more involuntary, whereas guitar I do kind of have to think about it because I'm not a strong left-handed guitar player. And I actually have a rule: if I can't walk across the stage and play the note, I don't play it.
Yeah.
So it limits where I'm willing to learn to. But I've basically been the same guitar player I got to a point, and not that it's a bad thing, but I focus more on what my right hand can do versus what my left hand could do. Like I want to do something more original with my right hand than I do with my left hand. Like I want to take this chord I know, and instead of doing one thing every time, I want to see how many ways I can make that one chord sound different.
No, I definitely agree. So but my practicing well point piggybacks off both of yours. So you're saying you want to do one thing with your dominant pick hand, like a bunch of cool ways, and you're talking about reaching an endpoint. I kind of agree with that, and I kind of agree with your point. My thing is more like, if you want to practice well and you want to get amazing and very proficient and all that stuff, and this is just in my brain, it's not, it's not right or wrong, it's just different.
Yeah.
So you're saying you want to reach an endpoint. I think if you ever want to practice and get better, you should never let yourself reach an endpoint ever, because you're immediately there has to be a stop, a limit.
No, I agree. But that's not. I'm saying my left hand is more stopped. My right hand is the one.
I'm running more off what he said.
Right. Okay.
And I guess when I say like having an endpoint, like I agree.
You're saying at a practice.
Yeah,
you want to
and-
reach a point and learn a part and all that stuff.
Well, and in the same way, I'd say like there are a lot of musicians who have been quoted saying like, if you ever think that you have played perfectly, like you should stop playing music. Just because like
agreed.
you've given
Agreed.
up at that point.
Exactly.
Nobody will ever play a perfect show.
You've reached your god tier level of playing.
Right.
Like, yeah, I've played shows where I played 100%. Like, I didn't miss a note, but like I could have played it. Like, I could have performed it better.
More fluently.
Exactly. I could have looked cooler doing it.
Right.
I could have felt more
performance could have been
confident in
better,
playing
yes.
it and all that stuff. But like that's what I'm saying is like I'm kind of like the way in Corey's just like, you know, I'm interested in sweep picking. Honestly, I don't give a shit to ever write a song with a sweep in it.
Oh, me either. But
I don't I don't give a fuck.
I used to,
Yeah.
but that's to the music I listen to.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
once I stopped listening to music with solos, I was like, oh, I don't. It was kind of like one of those moments where you're just like, I don't have to do that.
Right.
And I really actually like this version of music without the solos better. So I'm just more attached to just not having a solo.
Well,
Like
and
there's
I-
that song you heard, Problems.
yeah.
There's a literal anti-solo.
Just making just crazy noises.
It's where
man.
a solo would be, and it makes sense that a solo would be there in that song, but there's not one.
Right.
It's just fucking noise.
So-
And I'm just hitting random ass notes.
To me, in terms of like structure of a song, so you have your intro, verse 1,
chorus.
chorus, or like intro again, which would be like a post chorus or whatever. Verse 2, it's a slight variation. Verse 2 should always have a slight variation. Second chorus, and then your anti solo, which to most people would be solo, and then you have your bridge, which is
right.
which is the soft part before it comes back into the last big chorus, which also has a variation.
Yep.
So the solo area right there, just like you said, you're not playing a solo, you're just making noise, and you've been repeating that. You've been repeating probably 60 to 70% of that noise from practice into shows. There's still stuff you do different, and the stuff that stays the same, just as reference,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. To a lot of people, they'll hear that part and they'll be like, "What the fuck are they doing?" To me, it's just like I'm playing the chorus again.
Yeah.
That's all Corey and I are doing.
Well, the bass and the drums didn't change.
No,
It's the guitar that changed.
We're playing a louder, heavier iteration of the verse.
Yep.
That's all we're doing, and you're just that's it. And that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the song. I love the whole song as a whole.
Right.
I love the feel of it. The crowd loves it. A lot of people talk to us about that song predominantly more than any other song in the set. But playing that solo part, it may not look like Corey and I or Cody and I are just like beating the shit out of our instruments and having fun with it, because that's your part.
Yeah.
Like Cody and I, all we're doing is making sure that everything stays tight,
Right.
which is
That's the weirdest part.
no,
of any
but
song I've
and
ever
that's
written.
that's my favorite part of it. Like
Yeah.
Black Winter is my favorite song to play, but that part is my favorite part of the set because it's usually right in the middle of the set. I know how to feel for the rest of the set after that part.
Yeah, it's a good one, dude.
I've never told you that. That's my favorite part of the set to play.
Well, speaking of like how we write and how our brains function, we can kind of go down the road. We'll start with Justin. Oh, there's Jukebox is calling me. I'll call you back, buddy. We'll start with Justin because I'm gonna go take a piss, but you start.
Okay.
Let's get into our influences, because I feel like for me, heavily speaking, my influences definitely direct what my brain is willing to play, learn, do, all those kinds of things. Where again, y'all's teaching, y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want to, and I can't. But it doesn't. It only frustrates me when I have a part that I want to do a thing, but I can't do the thing.
Yeah.
Because I think, oh man, that sounds really cool. I'd really love to do that thing, but I just, my body physically won't let me do it.
Right.
So let's get into like the influences of what we've.
Okay.
Because my list is actually really short.
I can probably think of a 2 or 3 off the top of my head easily. Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah. So, are you going to piss out there? Yeah. So my first major influence on drumming is easily 100% identifiable with Lars Ulrich from Metallica. I mean, like I listened to Southern rock growing up, and ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner were huge in my. ZZ Top's Greatest Hits was the first album I ever heard all the way through on cassette with my dad in his truck. Yeah, Lars Ulrich was huge because like Metallica was the first band I ever heard that was like fast and heavy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, music can sound like this. And I went a long time without even listening to Metallica. It was whatever was on the radio. and the stuff I grew up listening to is like country and southern rock.
Yeah, well, and especially like southern rock and like country and all that kind of stuff. There's a definite like there's the money beat. You're gonna like chill on 2 and 4 pretty much
Yeah.
all the time.
Always. That's like a given. And like if you deviated from that, you're immediately like plugged into prog territory.
Yeah.
Which is to me as a drummer and just as a musician, it's just like, well, I mean, like if you want to put me in the prog territory, like that's cool because it means I'm doing something different. But just like a good example before I get into my next major influence is and like Corey thinks this is weird sometimes when I say this. I was not huge on Led Zeppelin at all. I'm still not a huge Led Zeppelin fan. I recognize the influence and the inspiration they had on generations to come, especially with John Bonham as a drummer,
Yeah.
Jimmy Page as a guitarist.
Yep.
But Led Zeppelin was something that was never played in my house. It's not something that I actively sought out. So when people think that Led Zeppelin is the greatest band in the world, just me by proxy being biased to other stuff that I was raised up on, I'm just like, you're wrong. But like I said, I still recognize their contribution and their talent. I get that. But like,
Dude, I completely understand. I'm the same way with the Beatles.
yeah. Well, the Beatles to me are the greatest songwriters of a genre that I hate. They know how to write a hit song. They know how to get people into their shit.
Top 40.
Top 40 to me until they started doing drugs and like me going to their back catalog until they started doing Sgt. Pepper's
Yellow Submarine and all
yeah,
that
Yellow
shit.
Submarine, all that stuff. Until they got to that point, to me, they're playing the most derivative form of music ever.
You know they were only a band for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's
And they
crazy.
sold 800 million records.
That's insane to me.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like, honestly,
well deserved.
I'm in a fucking psych rock band, and, like, arguably the Beatles are the ones who created psych rock as a genre.
It's
a genre.
arguable, but
Right.
I mean, they made it popular.
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know who created it. I doubt it was them, but they definitely made it popular.
I would probably say Jimi Hendrix, Cream, Iron
They
Butterfly
kept it
with
going.
Inagata
They kept
DeVita.
it going.
For sure. No, I mean they explored a new thing, and people caught on to it, which is great that there was even an ear for that.
Yeah.
But like, just like I said, like old Beatles stuff to me, like they're all their poppy hits. To me, that's the most derivative form of music, and it infuriates me when people
See, I
start
love the
singing "I
Beatles,
Want to
man.
Hold Your
Yeah.
Hand" and all that stuff. When people start singing that song, I literally want to strangle them. I'm like, you are. I'm like, this is the most basic drum beat, the most basic bass beat. The guitar riff is so uninspiring, and the lyrics are just garbage.
I think it's just the time, man.
No, I agree.
It's not now.
I
It's
agree.
Not for now.
I know that
It
now.
was for the 1960s.
Growing up and like me, my burgeoning musical talent, all that stuff, to me, anytime someone played just straight 4/4, I was like, you're garbage. I don't want to listen to you.
Oh, see, no. I'm
That's when I was like 14 though.
right. Just a
But-
punk ass kid.
So after Lars Ulrich,
Yeah.
Jose,
Speaking of 4/4,
I know. Well, Metallica was a little progressive. They had some
did.
You're
stuff.
not about to
but-
say Jose Aponte, are you?
No, Jose
Okay.
Padillas from
Okay.
Incubus.
oh,
Which is a good
Incubus.
segue back into why Couch Jackets is such a good band. I told Corey when we were hearing you play Boston Blues, I was like, they sound like Incubus.
They do sound like
You guys are the
Incubus. Y'all
closest
do.
band that's ever sounded like the way I feel when I listen to Incubus that has ever existed. And that's impossible because Incubus is like Metallica and Incubus are on a level of my favorite bands.
God tier. Yeah, they're up there.
That will never leave.
Yeah.
They're not my
Incubus is
favorite.
the
They're
shit.
not my favorite bands to listen to now because Every Time I Die holds that spot.
Well,
but but growing up, you had Metallica, which had Fast and Heavy. You had Incubus, which was dynamic and different.
Yeah.
And then for another one for me, a huge influence on my songwriting period. Corey will recognize this for sure. The first 2 Mudvayne albums,
yeah,
when they started doing all the weird mathy shit.
yeah.
I have
see that.
I have LD50 and The End of All Things to Come in for guitar tablature. I learned all those songs front to back.
See, that's an interesting one. I did you go over some of yours, Center?
Oh, yeah. No, not yet.
Oh.
But
Well, I mean, we
we've
started
been
talking
talking.
about
yeah, we got on the Beatles
and
then
Led
we got
Zeppelin and
on
all that
Led
stuff.
Zeppelin,
Like
yeah.
other huge influences to me are John Carell from the Number 12 Looks Like You, who can take the most extreme shit and make it look like a kid's playing it.
Yeah.
Like separating his quadriceps out when he's doing flutterfoot on double kick.
Yeah.
Just like basically having 2 extra brains in his feet.
Right. He's the drummer that makes it look easy, and then you're mad when you can't.
Exactly. He's the dude who does the hi-hat thing for Horse the Band and all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
And that live video. Thomas Noonan from 36 Crazy Fist used to be a huge influence. Especially when like growing up when I'm like in like my like 17, 18 type stuff. Matt Gartzka and Naveen Coppervice that used to play in Animals as Leaders.
Yeah.
Just drumming with like groove and all that stuff. Matt Halpern, obviously. You and I have discussed Matt Halpern at length numerous times. Another drummer that I think has always been a lot more influential that I don't really consider until like once he leaves a band, Daniel Davison.
Yeah, he's on my list too.
I knew that. I mean, I obviously know the number one.
Of course, I think everyone who's ever seen me drum knows who
Right.
number one is.
But the thing is, it's to me, it's not even imitation. It's so much like respect and emulation when you play like Aaron.
Right. It's
like-
just more of me trying to. Yeah, it's more of a respect thing. Yeah, you're right.
The shitty thing about being in My Hands to War is I never get to see it.
Right. Yeah,
I would
'cause it's always so in the
love to
moment.
watch a set with like if I couldn't play a show,
Yeah.
if I'm unable to play a show,
Like your
so
arm is broke or
yeah,
something. Knock on wood.
so Todd's doing vocals, our new guitar John is playing the songs,
Yeah.
Taylor's playing bass, and you're playing drums. I would love to sit in the audience and just watch it.
I feel that. I'd like
Like
to watch that shit too.
Watching videos and seeing pictures, like to me, is like it's very. It makes me feel a lot more accepted into what I do. It makes me very proud of what I do.
But I watch it from my point of view still.
Exactly.
I'm not watching all of us. I'm still like, I'm remembering what it was like to play that song as I'm
Right.
watching me play that song.
Yeah.
So I get lost in it. When my
Mhm.
brain tends to wander more than just focus on, oh man, did you see that cool thing? Unless it's just extreme, like Todd hanging from the ceiling. But
right.
so keeping on the influences thing, we'll go over to.
Well, I was gonna say real quick, another one that a lot of people don't consider or think about, and I don't really like the band as a whole. Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band.
Oh well,
That dude can
Yeah.
ride. That dude can ride a solid groove for hours because he does.
Oh, and dude, they have like one of the longest discographies out there, man, and like all of them are just like, they're
Yeah.
flawless, man.
still going.
Yeah,
He wears fucking gloves. Fuck that.
my girlfriend actually pulled up the other day. It was the thing that happened on their tour bus.
Oh, yeah, it's the 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, when they dumped all that waste.
The doo doo.
Yeah,
They dumped the doo doo off the bridge. That
Like-
guy lives like right
like-
down the street, right?
yeah. Well, it's just like I was just sitting like in my girlfriend's floor. We were watching TV. We were like, watching MASH or something. Which, by the way, we finished the finale again.
Rod City, bro. Yeah, take the fucking tears away.
Yeah, but she was just like reading her phone, and she's like, bad news for Dave Matthews. I was just like, what happened? And she pulled up the picture. I was like, oh yeah, everybody knows about that.
Shit was fucking forever ago, man.
Literally, the shit was forever ago.
Literally.
Yeah, I'd say I have like a lot of different areas that I would pull like specific like influences from. Like if I'm talking about like just playing in general, like I mean, Aaron Gillespie was the Devil Wears Prada and Under Oath were the two like biggest influential bands when I was like really starting to like get into teaching myself like how to do
Right.
stuff on drums. So it was like Aaron was enormous and shit, I forgot
Daniel.
his name. Daniel, yeah, it was. I forgot his last name.
Williams.
There we go.
Walking
the Devil Wears
fucking
Prada.
band dictionary, dude.
Yeah. Those two got me into drumming. They like sparked the passion for me, like 100%.
You see it and you watch it. Did you? Was it because you saw it live first,
I
or a music video of some sort?
I just started listening to albums, and like the first stuff I got into was The Devil Wears Prada. And I was like, same reason you were talking about Metallica.
Mhm.
This is just fast. This is visceral. This is about like
Yeah.
what they're making you feel and that kind of thing. And then I started getting into like Under Oath, and that was like they were a little bit more. There was a melodic aspect to it. Like in the early days of Prada, it was like a lot of like chugging stuff, and they had like the breakthrough moments where there was like this clean line.
So how old are you?
I was probably like, or right now I'm
Now.
23.
You're 23. Okay, so you didn't start listening to Under Oath till when? Define the
For-
line.
The first album I listened to was They're Only Chasing Safety.
Oh, okay. So
And then like To Find the Great Line had either just come out or it came out after I was
Gotcha.
listening to them,
Okay.
and it blew my
'cause
fucking
my-
mind like
I was
everybody.
trying to adhere our two stories, but mine happened a lot before that.
Yeah.
With so me and you share Aaron. Aaron's obviously my top guy as well. But and it's weird to not idolize, but to have such a mutual respect for someone who's the same age as you. We're the same age, me and Aaron. And I
Wow.
went and watched them. I was a huge mainstream guy, man. All I listened to was gangster rap and like Limp Bizkit and Korn. I'm showing my age here. And I would.
I don't know anybody in this day and age in this modern time that boost Limp Bizkit and Korn as much as you do,
Dude, I'm fucking down with
dude.
it.
You're all day. You're like the
Wes Borland all fucking day
there-
long. He's a guitar idol of mine. That's a master.
Real quick
Fucking
side
come
note.
at me.
Before the Yaris got wrecked and you and Kaylee took it on that trip, like he live tweeted from my car everything they did, and like they were just like swamp donkey. That's what he called my car. But I remember when they came back, he was telling me about the trip and all that stuff. He's like, yeah. Or Kaylee would always tweet out when she was still on Twitter. Like she would always like screenshot what they were listening to in my car, and it was always Limp Bizkit or Korn. Always. I almost guarantee you'll listen to like 4 or 5 full Korn albums.
But right before, okay, so when I started getting into music, I was playing guitar, and I was listening to Korn and stuff, and I wanted a 7-string, dude. I wanted to make gnarly fucking tones, and I think that's why I'm right hand dominant on guitar too, because their guitar player Head,
It's rhythmic.
I think he might, and I don't care what anybody says, to be honest with you, I think he might be the best right-handed guitar player. His right hand, I think, is the most creative, I think, of all fucking time. All those weird picking notes and all those weird structures, it's not this fucking hand that's doing all, it's this one. And that's all him. He's the heavy, and Monkey, the other guitar player, he's the weird. But anyway, none of them influenced me drumming. Like, their drummers are fucking awesome. And David Silvera back then, and Ray Lusk now, and was it John Otto?
Yeah.
Is the drummer for fucking Limp Bizkit. He's incredible, dude. He's a hip hop drummer. They're all amazing. There's not one hip hop drummer where you're like, that guy fucking sucks. No, they're all incredible.
No, that's true. That's facts.
And so, like, with me and you, with Aaron, what had happened is I was in school and I was going with some friends of mine to speech oral communications, like learning how to do speeches, because I wanted to do that. And I had just started playing music, dude. I was like 2 years into playing guitar, you know, and my hair was long as fuck. I wore Jinko jeans, and a buddy of mine had just found the underground. His uncle was a lead singer for Living Sacrifice.
Damn.
Yeah, so his name's Drew, but he was like, fuck that stuff, dude. Well, he didn't say fuck, but he was like, forget that. He didn't cuss at the time, which is hilarious if you know Drew. He was like, you got to listen to this stuff, dude. And he hands me a Zayo record, and he hands me a Living Sacrifice record, and he hands me, it was those two, and then he was like, come to this show. That's what it was. He hands me those 2 records, and it was the Throwing Myself EP, and Reborn, I believe, was the album, or it has a song on it, Reborn from Living Sacrifice. I can't remember. It's
The one with Reject.
Reject.
Yeah,
that's it.
Reborn was the CD.
Yeah. And so I'm listening to him like, oh my God, dude, just my mind flooded. And then we go to this show, and it's fucking Living Sacrifice, Embodiment, Under Oath, and I always space the other band, but they were fucking huge too. And people, I think it was Logic 34. Yeah. And that was one show. And Under Oath was death metal. And I'm new to music. I don't know if you've ever heard old Under Oath.
Oh yeah, I
Like
got
Cries
so
from the
into
Past
it.
shit.
Yeah,
That's what I saw them play. Dallas Taylor was still in the band, Octavio. And like, I've seen Under Oath in there, like, they weren't even fucking signed, I don't think. Maybe just had got signed. I mean, it was so early in their career. And like, The Changing of Times wasn't even out yet.
yeah.
And I'm watching, there used to, the pole in Juanita's used to be, this is what sparked my drummer passion. And this is why Aaron still to this day is my all time, as far as, and it's weird because he's my age, like I said, but this is the reason why. At such a young impression, I'm watching this dude, and I didn't know he was my age at the time.
Yeah.
But he comes up and he's playing, and I've never seen music like this, dude. You got to remember, I've heard heavy, but not anything like this. And I'm watching it live for the first time fucking ever, and they are bouncing off the fucking walls, hanging off the speakers, and there's a pole in the middle of the stage. And instead of playing his drum kit for a bell, it was a lot of blast beats, you know?
Yeah.
He plays the fucking pole. And I just, that moment right there, it's still in my brain. I can go in and I can watch the scene. And Dallas Taylor was hanging from the fucking speaker, because the speakers were flown in Juanita's, the old Juanita's. And he's hanging from that set of speakers, like leaned out. And he's just that cat growl scream he had back then. And that's it, dude. I'm fucking hooked immediately. And that was from from always. And anyway, that's my Aaron story.
Yeah.
Like that's
what,
how
1997?
dude, who fucking knows? It was so fucking long ago.
Well, and that's really crazy. Yeah. I mean, with him, it was like the music definitely just like sparking that passion to want to learn. I sat down, I'd fucking play their records like all the way through, that kind of thing. And then going to shows, like I always somehow, I've been to an Almost show and 2 Under Oath shows, and at every single time I've gone, I've managed to like talk to him at least for like 5 minutes, like just the two of us, and that kind of thing, which has blown my mind. It was like I was 18, it was the summer before I like was going into my like senior year of school, and I was thinking about all these places to audition and all this shit to do with like drumming and like all that kind of stuff. And like I just asked him, I was like, dude, I'm putting this life decision in your hands, man. Like I just want you to fucking like tell me what you did, like what you would do in this situation, like help me out here. And he was just like, man, like I started playing drums and I was out on the road at a super young age, and it's because I've been everywhere and I've done all of this shit that I am like the person I am and the drummer that I am. So get out of here, man. Like go out for a while, play with a bunch of people, play a lot of different kinds of music, like figure your shit out.
Every Time I Die told us that exact same shit. You want to, that's just good advice for anybody listening who's a new dude. You have to leave where you're from. And I don't give a fuck if you're from LA, Dallas, Chicago, New York, the biggest cities in America. Don't mean a fucking thing. Where you're from don't mean shit. It's where you've been.
Yeah.
Because where you've been, that's the experience. It is going to humble you. It's going to change your whole fucking world perspective, because you're going to meet those people. You want to know why this half of the country acts a certain way or why this half of the country acts a certain way. You're going to get all that shit because you're in it. You're traveling around. You're meeting everyone. Everybody goes to shows, man. It's not just one group of people that listen to one certain style of music.
Yeah. And you never know who you're going to run into. And yeah, just getting out is
Dude,
huge.
one of the best compliments I ever got was from a 60-some-odd-year-old man. Frail voiced. We're walking out of a show, and he was just in the back watching. Very well done, young man. I almost fucking cried, dude. Like, shit, man. Something. No, that was at that house show. That acoustic set.
Right. At Sean's.
Dude, it was so fucking touching. And it's like, dude, it's something I did as young as I was. I don't even think I was 30 when we did that. Maybe I was right at 30. Still younger, and it's still like,
I mean, it's been like 2 or 3 years.
a guy that fucking has had a whole lifetime of shit, and he's like impressed or even maybe got something out of something I did.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's just the power of music, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, back to your influences.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and so I'd say those guys, like all of that kind of music, and like Matt Halpern, all of these guys, like just the music I was listening to, that's like the fire. That is like, that's why their influence is on
They
me.
were the gatekeepers.
Yeah,
for you.
and even past that, like as far as like, I'd say there's like technique, groove, and creativity. Like at that point, like after it, and it's like for technique, dude, I was into drum corps and all that kind of shit when I was in high school. I like played marching snare drum and tenors and all that kind of stuff, and I got really into like one line, and the guy who teched them, who like gave them this specific technique that they were using, which has now become almost ubiquitous with a lot of like places. His name was Paul Rennick, and I ended up going to University of North Texas where he teaches and took lessons from him.
Wow.
I was like so fucking like about this guy.
Right.
And so it's like influenced like all of the physiology of how I play the most out of anybody. And
So tight.
That's awesome, dude.
then and like creativity wise, I'd say Benny Greb is like one of the only guys
Who's
I
that?
can think of.
I know who that is.
He's dude. Just watch videos of Benny Greb drumming.
I think I have. That's what I'm saying.
He's
the bald guy with the beard. He's German. He looks smug as fuck all the time, and he makes you angry at how good he is, man.
Yeah.
Like
But it gets to a
That's
point where
Justin for me.
well, yeah,
bro.
but he has a really good point. So it's like watching him, you get smug and you're like, Jesus Christ, why is he like showing off like this? And you get about a minute into his groove or solo or whatever he's doing, and you can't help but smile because you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, this is so intense
It's
and
that
creative.
good.
yeah, well, and,
Chris Coleman's the same way. For
yeah,
me.
and I'd say Benny Greb mostly is because his whole thing is like he has played drums so much and thought about it so much that he has. His first drumming DVD he released was like the language of drumming, and he literally has an alphabet of binary and tertiary rhythmic like things, and it's all dots and dashes, and it comprises every rhythm you could possibly play. And it's like you learn these letters, you learn these sentences, you learn these phrases, you can play anything. Your creativity is boundless at that
That's
point.
fucking crazy, dude. That literally sounds like a foreign language to me.
Yep.
And
That's where my theory stops.
Yeah, Hunter even goes past, dude. You're an incredible
dude, but
talent.
I'd say, yeah, creativity, like that's him. And then like fucking Pocket Groove, whatever you want to call it, man. It's like Chad Smith. He's like a huge guy, and he's just like I don't know, he like fucks with time so much in like such an interesting way. And then Nate Smith is another drummer. He's been he played with Charlie Potter, which was like this jazz band for a while, and now he's doing stuff with this band of members. I think they're called the Fearless Flyers, but they've been releasing some new stuff recently. And then shit, dude, I'm trying to think of his name. He's just this big black guy. He played for American Idol. He was their drummer.
I know exactly
for a
who you're
long
talking about. I
time.
don't know his name, but I know exactly who you're talking
Dude,
about.
yeah, it's like him and
He's
like
unfucking real, dude.
tons of people of his
Have you
ilk
watched
who
his
just-
workshop videos on YouTube and shit?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Fuck.
Just going into that stuff, and all these people who I feel like are way more akin to your style of drumming, Corey, even just like coming from churches. They didn't learn how to read music. They didn't learn what a note was. They didn't learn what theory was. It's all by feel. It's all by ear. And
Yeah,
these
just
gospel drummers.
DJ's another good drummer that is underutilized, I think, in our state.
Oh,
but
shit, man, we should have had him on this.
Dude,
fucking
DJ
podcast. I didn't
I
think
rem-
about it. He is so good.
the reason why my grooves have gotten so much better in drumming is not from me just practicing. It's from playing with DJ and him making me watch
I
gospel
was gonna
chat
say
videos.
him making you fucking do stuff or making fun of you for not being as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for real, dude. Gospel drummers, I think, are like they're god tier.
Oh yeah, they're like
Not
master race, man.
Not only. Wow.
I mean, not like
eugenics.
that. I'm just saying. If you
I'm just kidding.
if you grow up and you're playing drums in a church, like I think you probably are. Like
You're gonna get on some next level shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
dude.
by default.
I've got a good story about Guitar Center. You may have seen this guy when you in your tenure there. I can't remember his name. He said when he was talking to me, he said he took some master classes with some guy in like Michigan or something like that. But he's this probably like 56-year-old black guy, and he came into my drum room. I had a break, and he's like, "Young man," he's like, "Do you mind giving me a couple minutes of a lesson?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I started playing this groove, and he like kind of started picking up, and then this motherfucker hustled me. And he starts doing this crazy off the wall jazz. Like he goes from matched grip to traditional in the middle of a fill. And there's like it's all over the place. And I just stopped playing and I just watched him. And he just kind of had a grin on his face. I was like, dude, fuck you. I was like, that was amazing, but you're an asshole.
Yeah,
And he just
fucking
kind
hustled
of
you.
and when he just kind of laughed. But I mean, he was just like sharing his story about being in that master class, and he was like, yeah, like he was doing like the whole up and down on the hi-hat.
Yup.
Like
Up beats, down beats.
the single foot blast type thing.
Yep.
And I was just like even watching him do it, like in my head, I'm like, I could do it if I just sat there and tried it and all that stuff. But I was just like,
You do that, don't you, Hunter? On some of your stuff, don't you go up top and bottom?
yeah.
Yeah, man.
you use that more to like just wash out the groove, though, don't you?
Yeah, most of the time. I'm not usually doing it for like speed or anything like that.
No. It's and it looks fucking cool.
Right. Well, and that was the thing. It's like when this dude was doing it, he was doing like not only was he doing it fast and technically correct, but it was just so interesting to watch it. You're just like, what?
Yeah, no, I get that way with even the people that aren't that good because I have so little fucking respect for my own abilities. I just,
You really should. You should hold yourself in higher regard.
I mean, maybe, but I think that's why it took me so long to get to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Is because I don't do things like what we were talking about, like practice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just hear stuff, and eventually, this is how I work. Is like, I just won't get it. Like one of these days, I'm just gonna walk into practice and I'll know how to do D beats.
Yep.
That's how it works with me. I'll go to sleep. I'll have a fucking dream or some weird shit like that, and then I'll just wake up and be like, "Oh, so it's I've been doing the fucking this hand wrong. I've been leading wrong this whole time," and then I'll just do it, and then all of a sudden I'll fucking know it. And it'll just be in my
There was a
repertoire
time when
forever.
he was doing the D beat for that song we were talking about, and he did it for like 8 measures perfect. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's keep riding it." And then he stopped. I was like, "Why did you stop?" He was like, "Was that right?" I was like, "That was perfect." And he goes,
See,
He's like, I
And
forgot
I
it
didn't know
already.
I was doing it right. See, like I said, if I know what I'm doing, I'll commit it to memory, and then it's just instant. But I didn't understand that what I was doing, and then I just wasn't able to do it. It's a weird thing, man. I have a fucking strange process, dude.
But it's so interesting. That's the cool thing about that. That's what's been so cool for me playing with you for so long is like I get to see your process in real time as it's happening.
You can watch me think. I'm
I can watch when your eyes lead to the next thing you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I already know what you're gonna do before you even know what you're gonna do.
Probably.
And it's so cool because sometimes I'll watch you lead. I'm like, he's not gonna nail it. And then sometimes I'll watch you lead. I'm just like, he's about to get it. He's about to get it. Holy fuck, he got it.
Then I look over to him for like reassurance. I look to and he's younger than me too, and I'll just be like, "Was that good?"
Yeah. When we started working on the D beat for those couple hours before he changed it to the more complex thing, it was like I was having to teach him.
Oh, dude, that's what it sounded like. I mean, like teaching at the school and like working on stuff that is literally developing muscles that aren't developed yet.
Yeah.
It's like reps over and over and over and over again.
Dude.
That's my major issue with lessons. Is not that kids don't want to learn, because they obviously do, or else they wouldn't be there. And it's not that kids don't want to play what I play because, they can't because they have, they're much younger, because like they're literal fucking kids. It's the fact that like they don't, to me, they cannot understand the process of you have to keep doing this a lot. And I always tell every kid that learns a beat, I was like, this is going to be boring. We're going to be doing this for a couple of weeks. But I was like, I guarantee you, if you keep doing this, everything becomes easier because you have this as a reference point. You'll get to level 5 and you'll try to go to level 10. But when you restart over, you're not restarting at level 1. You're restarting at level 5. So you already have that much extra space to build up.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm like a kid, but because I just can't commit it. There's just something, dude. I have a mental block. I was the same way with school. It's the same way with everything. If I do it myself, I got it forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I do everything myself. That's why I built this fucking table we're sitting at.
Yep.
Everything, dude. It's you could tell me all day, this is how you do X. Fuck, I don't know. I have no idea. Just let me use it.
I mean, this kind of pertains to what you just said, but like one of my favorite things is like no one has ever told you something that you've just willingly 100% accepted.
No.
You will take whatever they tell you, whatever advice they give you, an idea, whatever, and there's an immediate like stop in front of it where you hold out your hand physically to this idea, but it's in your brain where you're just like, nope, you're going to wait a second until I process this the way I want to process it. So you make
and figure it out.
You make ideas cater to you rather than you cater to ideas.
That's all my dad. He's always told, just question everything. And
Yeah,
I do, dude.
but that's so interesting to me to watch, because there's some things that in my brain, if someone tells me logically, I'm just like, yeah, that makes 100% sense. I agree with that. That's how you develop beliefs and all that stuff.
Right,
But like with you, every single option that comes your way, you just stop it and you're just like, hold on, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to you. This seems way more interesting. Let's process this together.
Yep. And I'll do like, dude, I'm always doing research.
That's why I can't wait for the conspiracy theory episode.
Yeah, that's going to be a wild one, dude. Yeah. But some of my influences, dude, I mean, thank you though, by the way, also. That was fucking awesome. I don't really think about myself at all, to be honest. I just think I'm good enough to pass it. What I tell people is I'm not a good musician. I'm a great performer. I fake it. I just make the simple things I know how to do look good enough to pass.
But to that point though, like
I'm a showman,
right?
It's all heart.
But you're also giving me and Hunter all this credit, like with all this theory and all that stuff. Like you're at a point now you don't need it. Your ability to grow innately and naturally without research or technology or the processing, with the quote unquote processing power that Hunter and I have with our thinking, our line of thinking. Your process is entirely natural. And it just grows on its own, whereas we have to develop and cultivate it. Yours just shoots straight up. You don't have a ceiling. We do because, well, see, it's kind of like, I would say you have the mind that you don't think you're boundless. Or no, where you think you're bounded, but you're actually boundless. Whereas Hunter and I, with this boundless creativity brain that we actually have a large fan that ends.
Oh, right.
Yours does not.
Because y'all will be like, well, this is what makes sense.
Exactly.
And y'all
Yeah.
might stop there. Whereas me, I'm just going to go,
No, this is what I want to do.
rails until it just goes, oh, that sounds good. And we're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're to me, your drumming style doesn't. Don't take this the wrong way, and I know you'll see it my way, and I think you might agree too. Hunter and I drum to complement other musicians, to serve the part. We have our moments, but it's mostly about the full song in its entirety.
Right.
Your drumming style conflicts with everything, and you make it work.
That, yeah, I could see that. Because I'll do, yeah, man. Because I'm. Just
It's
doing
not.
whatever.
It's not like an aggressive like polka or anything. It's just like your
No.
drumming style to a great portion of the general population, and even a great portion of the musical scholar population. All this stuff. Your drumming style doesn't work.
Oh no, yeah, it wouldn't for
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've just watching you play and that kind of thing. Like, you play with so much force, and a lot of the time, like, if you were one of my students, like one day you just like walk in, and I'm teaching like fucking little Corey Fisher about like how to hold a drumstick and shit like
Corey
that.
Fisher hasn't been little in 30 years. Once he turned 5, he became the size he is now.
But yeah, man, I would change everything about what you do without have seeing you like played before. But like what you do works so well for what you are trying to do. It's like you will grow as far as you can wherever your gaze is as a, like as a drummer. It's like if this is where you want to go, that is where you are going
Yeah,
to get to.
you will actually stop when you consciously think stop. Hunter and I have to stop and
When you know it's stopped.
and process. This fits. This feels comfortable. I can move on at that point. Whereas there's no stopping for you. You are
Just until I get there.
you're an unstoppable force.
Right.
There is no immovable object for you.
Yeah.
We
wild.
come to those and we eventually like finalize and move around them.
Yeah.
You are literally just
Just
constantly
going
moving
through it.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild, dude. Thank you.
I've honestly always thought that, but having this conversation allowed me to like kind of articulate
Right.
that. Like
I never thought of it
you,
that way.
you literally have infinite potential and resource, whereas Hunter and I are actually limited in our like technological.
By your abilities, not like your technical abilities, but your brain, the way you process.
Well,
Right.
and I think
The
it's like
part-
influence. It's like what
Yeah,
you
definitely.
think can fit here. Because there's a really well-known like indie artist. His name's Conan Moccasin, but he has a couple of like interviews where he's like, I don't listen to music anymore.
I don't.
Yeah, and it's like I
really
never
doesn't.
I don't listen to music. I don't like play music. I don't try to emulate anybody because he thinks that at this point that if you're trying to pull from influences, you're not being as creative as you can be.
You're not being original enough.
That's weird because
anymore.
that's where I've been for like probably the last 3 years. Not so super recent, but the last 3 years, dude. I don't think I mean, really, dude. It's just whatever my wife has on. Like I don't purposefully.
and it's not intentional either. Like
No,
you,
it's not.
because she listens to everything.
She does. She'll listen to all of it, and I'll jam along too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't sit down and just listen to music just to listen to it anymore. But I've also been on a wild mind expanding journey for the last couple years too,
Yeah.
just from all the crazy shit that's been going on in my life. I mean, all the weird things aside, but I feel like, and also in the last 3 years, I've been able to do things that I've never been able to do because
Right.
I let go of all the influences, which my influences are real simple. Y'all's were well thought out, but mine's basically fucking Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath. Well, I don't really know
Daniel
how to say
Davison.
it. Daniel Davidson, but honestly, after he was already out of Norma Jean,
Mhm. Probably Aaron Lunsford too.
well, you know what? Not till later, but
Mhm.
honestly, not as much as you would think.
Right.
Buddy Rich,
Yeah.
because he
yeah.
had a lot of heart. I
Of
know there's
course.
like this big debate between him and fucking the dude from what is it? Not Neil Peart, but Neil
Yeah. The
Peart.
guy
Yeah,
from Rush.
Yeah.
From Rush. That's it.
Mhm.
There's like that huge debate. Who's the better drummer? It's like they're both fucking amazing. It doesn't matter. But Neil Peart's not one of my influences, so
Right.
I'm gonna stick Buddy Rich just because he did less with more. He did more with less.
Exactly.
And Neil Peart did. He
A
lot.
fuckload with a lot.
With a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're both amazing. They're both better than anybody that's in this fucking room. So
Right.
it's not like I'm.
But
Just
but in that same token, all that stuff, you can put John Bonham in there. John Bonham.
that's where I was getting to.
John Bonham is not an overly technical drummer by any means.
But if you notice one thing about all the drummers I've said so far, they're heavy hitters, and I'm one of the fucking heaviest hitting dudes.
Oh yeah,
and,
hands down.
and they're passionate. And that's more what when I watch somebody play something, I'm not like, oh, he's hitting the 5, or oh, he's hitting the rag tom, he's hitting the kick drum here, he's hitting the, or y'all might break it apart what he's doing. I'm watching the person.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
watching the performance almost exclusively.
It's almost like everything else gets shadowed out.
Especially if I know I already can't play it, I won't watch the performance, the piece at all. I'm watching the drummer himself.
Right.
I'm watching like, dude, you can be the baddest ass of drummers of all time, and if you're just sitting there like a robot, and a robot could play what you're doing and have the same amount of emotion in their face, dude, fuck you. I have no spot in my brain for anyone that just stands there. It's like, well, I'll just buy your album then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to come watch you live.
Yeah. Well, and dude, I think watching other drummers, like I am constantly looking at what they're doing and like how they're playing and what they're playing, and like the emotion in what they're doing is something that after I've like taken in technically what's happening that I can really pick up on, and
Right.
like I always pay attention to that too, but I'm looking to fucking steal, man. Whenever I go to like
Right,
other
right.
shows and stuff, I'm like,
see-
what are you doing? What do I think is badass? How do I play that?
Keith Buckley wrote one of my favorite lines in all of time. In Starving Artist, Cover Your Trash, there's a line during like a bridge part that says, if it doesn't look like something now, steal it before it does. That's my all-time favorite
Whoa,
line
that's a good
everywhere.
one. I mean, I do definitely take away parts and styles.
Yeah.
When you hear it enough, you're just eventually going to play it. Listen, everything's been played. There's not a fucking note on the planet that's never been played before. You're not fucking original, technically speaking.
Yeah. Well, that's what that
You
whole
can
song's about.
You can be creatively original,
Right.
but you can't be notistically original.
No, absolutely not.
So, with all that being said, yeah, I pull things away, but more often than not, what I pull away is like, here's what I pulled away from John Bonham. And I fucking love John. I love Led Zeppelin. To me, they are number one. There is not a better band on this fucking planet, and simply because of the way they did shit. I know they have their things, and Jimmy Page is a weird motherfucker and had sex with some underage girl or something. I don't even give a fuck. They had a way of making tones, especially in the time. I like to think about the decade this shit was happening to, not just what it pertains to now. Because it's like, well, yeah, now you can hear 20 bands that are like that, but the only reason they can be that way is because Led Zeppelin existed first.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how the respect I have for the Beatles too is, yeah, there's a mountain of pop rock acts that have always existed, but they would have never existed if it wasn't for them coming around and doing it first.
Yeah.
There's always the originals,
Yes.
and then there's the genre they create that 9 times out of 10 gets fucking filled up. Almost all of it's garbage, and there's one good band, and they almost always sound like the original band.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and dude, that's
But,
one of the reasons I think like Couch Jackets tries to play so much different shit. Like we all of our songs sound different, as we're just trying to find a new genre, find something new.
That's my favorite part about your band is not only are every member incredibly technically proficient at what they do, and when y'all bring those 4 influences together, it creates all these this amazing soundscape and all that stuff. But that it's like by giving so much of not a fuck on carrying on how you sound, to me it translates into creating this amazing sound that you, just like you said, every single song sounds different. And like,
But what's funny though is every single song sounds like a Couch Jacket song.
exactly.
That's what's so fucking good about it. Like, I feel like Lame Johnny has that somewhat. Like, we could kind of play whatever. Like, if I broke out an acoustic, I don't think people would be that surprised.
No.
But you guys, y'all play, and it's like, this song sounds like X, this song sounds like... Y'all have a song that sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song. And the whole way through, all I want to do is drink Corona and, like, wear
Be on a
fucking
beach.
beach shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this
Go
is
swim with a
fucking insane.
stingray or
And then
some
the
shit.
very next song, I will literally... I have cried watching y'all play music. Like... y'all have put me in tears. That
Yes.
fucking one song y'all have, dude, it gets me. Look. I just got goosebumps thinking about it.
That happens a lot.
It fucking gets me, man. And y'all are fucking so much younger than me. Dude, you can be influenced by anyone. Anybody can be an influence. This whole, they're all, most people respect people that are older than them. Fuck that. I pull influence. Dude, Justin is one of my biggest drumming influences of all fucking time. And that's because I sat in a room as a shitty drummer watching this guy across from me be amazing. And in the same fucking band that it inspires me to then go out and just like try to be less shitty. Because it's like, that happened in the early days. Why isn't Justin just the drummer? Like I've had people ask that.
That was a massive conversation piece for a long time while Corey was in the band.
Why doesn't Justin just do the drumming and you just play guitar? Well, he's better at both. So which one do you want him to do? But like what I was getting to with the John Bonham thing is I think my favorite thing about John Bonham, it is not the heavy hitting, it's not the crazy timing, because he was responsible for a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
But his ability to let a song breathe. His ability to leave space when space was needed. Like, you don't have to play drums for the whole song or be crazy and go crazy. Like, that's where I get we have those songs that'll go just like from fucking massive amounts of chaos into just a straight blues ditty in a literal beat. And that's where that comes from for me, is watching like old Bonham videos and just going fucking ham. And then all of a sudden I'm playing the side of the fucking ride and you can barely hear anything. William, actually a guy that we know that's another drummer, he was like, I'm not good with compliments. And he came out of one of the shows we played together at the Elixir show. And he was like, dude, my favorite fucking thing about you is your ability to just calm down. You're so fucking crazy the whole show, and then in the middle of a song, you just go to zero.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, man, that's where that comes from. That's that one, and then of course Gillespie with the power and the speed, and Nirvana, Grohl.
Yeah.
Because I watched them when they were still Nirvana.
Yeah.
I was old enough to see him on MTV, and his fucking hair, he looks like Animal.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have Animal tattooed on my fucking arm. They're both, I mean, even Animal's an influence.
Yeah.
Like, that's for real.
Huge
a fucking
influence.
puppet is an influence. I'm heavily influenced by him banging his head around. You've seen me play drums.
Yep.
That's all I do is bang my head, try not to pass out. So, anything can be an influence, dude. And that's what I pull away from more often than not. It's not the parts. It's the performance piece. It's the heart and the care, or the that weird thing that only that guy does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first
The
time,
little it factor.
the first time I ever Aaron, for me, one of the things that I took away from his drumming style that nobody would even fucking pick up on is his, when they play with metronomes now, but back in the day they didn't, and he still does this even with the metronome. But this is crazy. It's just a signal. I picked up signaling from him. I didn't pick up his like drumming patterns, but there's a way he does his sticks. If you look close enough and watch live shows, in the middle before a beat, he'll give some sort of stick inflection on something, or he'll click them together real quick. And it's timing. Yeah. It's all about timing, and like, this is the next part, And I do that too. I pulled that away for sure. I stole that 100%.
Where you just kind of like signal to yourself what to do next.
Yeah, it's like a self signal, but also if anyone is watching who might be lost, like that, it's like a thing. Like, okay, well, I know when that, because you do it, and now we just use them as timing things. But it started out as this way for me to go. So like, if I hit the rim of the snare in this part, and it's on the 3, I know after the next snare hit, the next part is whatever, and that's intentional. It's by design.
Right. No, that's. I guess I've kind of always noticed that, but just to hear it said out loud is like, that's super interesting to hear.
Right, you're thinking it's just a part I'm writing.
Right, it's just a signal.
And then you pick up on it as a timing cue by default, whereas I actually watched someone do that and went, oh, like, that's fucking smart, dude. I love those visual and like sound cues. I work so much better than just waiting for the next riff, because, dude, I know every venue, you ain't guaranteed to have those fucking monitors. And
Yeah.
you just gotta fly by the seat of your pants on that.
You just came off of like a 3-month fucking tour.
Yeah, we did like a 2-month and then a couple like different 2 weeks or a week out and all that kind of stuff.
And how many venues were like set up?
Oh man, like 2/3 of them we had absolute shit sound.
There you
and
go.
then like a 1/6 out of the ones we did have, the monitors weren't great. And then there was that top crust, like, oh my god, we get to like actually sound check and our monitors are gonna sound great.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've always tried to like give you all the advice I can as far as like my production knowledge. So like, and I always told you when you get out there, you're going to really start learning like what it really takes to be in a touring band and stuff. And now you've done it, I meant to ask you. So now you definitely know. Okay, so I know for sure you left and you had a certain idea and then you came back with a complete, but now I guarantee almost, tell me if it's true or not, you definitely have a list of shit extra you need to bring next time you go out on something like that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And I mean, like, some of it's just like...
Dude, you'll get to some places and they won't, me and him have literally played, and this has happened more than once, they didn't even have a fucking PA.
Yeah.
It's unthinkable that you would hire a fucking band, dude, and there's not a fucking PA system.
It is so wild that you're even talking about that. We had this show. It was going to be in Fort Worth, Texas. This guy hits us up. We're going to come play for this like botanical garden that wants us to play out at their event. Like, whatever. We're going to go. It's going to be badass. We'll play outdoors. We'll get some money for you because this is one of the like well-paying shows we have.
Right.
And we go down there. We pull up. They're like, there's like this 2 rows of food trucks. We're gonna play in the middle of this roundabout, like on the grass.
What the fuck?
And like around all of these cars.
Sounds like Toad Suck, kinda.
Yeah. And
yikes.
We get up, we meet this guy, and we're like, hey, cool, where's your PA? Doesn't have a PA. Like no board, no speakers, no anything. But he's like, oh, but you guys have amps, right? And we're like, yeah, we can do this like with amps. We're like, where's your electricity outlets? And no fucking outlets. The closest one's like 500 feet that way. Do you have extension cords? No fucking extension cords. But he still wants us to play. So we literally have a battery powered. They're called pig nose. They're like this big. Brennan gets one of those. I go and I set up like hi-hat, bass drum, snare drum, and we just sit out there. We're not even playing songs. We're just fucking jamming. We're grooving, and we sit in the middle of this cul-de-sac or this roundabout. Just Brennan and I doing that for 2 hours. We play for our whole set time we're supposed to be there for.
Wow.
And like then we fucking pack up and get the car. And I mean, that was a fun like off day. We had this like house show fest we were playing at later in the day, so it made up for the fact because they fucking stiffed us on pay too. We never got paid for that show.
The one that was supposed to be like the easy breezy turned into the shit.
Oh, dude, it was like the worst fucking thing.
It's so fucking funny how that happens, dude. And like that's what I try to tell, Justin and all of my friends or all my bandmates, really anybody I come across, and that's really like a big reason for this podcast too, is just, man, there are so many little things that if you just knew them, dude, you'd save yourself so much fucking heartache and headaches and just, honestly, dude, a lot of band fights, a lot of like breakdowns and communication. There's so much of that little stuff, but being out on the road will teach you a lot.
Yeah. I mean like by the end of the 2 months, man, like all of us were so like, we were like spent, and it was like pulling into like the bottoms of our soul because like we were not going to put on a shitty show by any means, but like it was like dragging it out from deepest parts
everything
of
else
ourselves.
but the show.
Yeah,
just the day to day, that type of shit.
It's like, what the fuck do we do with 8 hours like sitting at a venue and they're not going to be here?
You need a guy like me. I am fucking great at time. I'm flawless with it. That's one of the things I will say. I'm pretty fucking solid with time, and I know how to use it pretty good.
Yeah.
We never had a moment of free time on tour, and I know probably most of them wanted to like relax and shit, but I'm like, nope. Got fucking work to do, son. 8 hours at a venue is not a good idea. Let's just go. Fuck it. We'll find some shit. And nowadays it's even easier, bro. You don't even have to, you can park your van in the fucking street and Uber. Everyone can just chip in. It's like, fuck, we don't even have to drive this big bitch around. We can get in the nice little car and be fine, Or say there's 2 different spots, and this happened to us a couple times. These 3 will go over here, and us 3, we're going over here. Yeah. And we'll see you. Okay, we'll meet back here at X time, dude. Yeah. Just, set an alarm or something. And that was pre-smartphone era. That was back when the Motorola V whatever 51,
right?
The flip. Remember the Motorola? They had that flip phone. Every fucking person and their brother owned. That was man. We got lost and shit. It was a good time, dude. Ain't nothing like being lost in Middle America, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, our van broke down, battery went out, all of the electricity went out on the middle of the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge outside of New Orleans while we were trying to drive back after a show.
Oh,
and
shit.
we get there. We try to put the emergency lights on. They just kill what's left of the battery.
Yep.
Brennan and Harry and the rest. We had another guy with us. They all we call a tow truck. He shows up. He says, "I can't tow your van. It's too big. I can't do it with this type of truck." He at least gives them a ride up 5 miles to the next exit where they get a hotel. And Ben and I are either going to walk or we're going to stay in this car. And there's like not a shoulder. Like the van is big enough that it is a little bit on the road still. And so Ben and I spend the night on the side of the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge in the van, and it was like fucking terrifying, man. There were just cars zooming by. The van's so top heavy that
Every semi
we're
just make you
shaking.
think you're gonna roll over.
Yeah.
God,
Man.
dude.
Fuck all that.
That's them stories, dude. But you know, now it's like what a fucking wild ass.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like Ben and I have been closer than ever after that. Like Ben was actually like pretty fucking freaked out by it, which
Oh
like
yeah, dude.
I mean, I probably should have been more so, but I was sitting in there and I was like, everything's going to be fine. Like, everything's okay, man. Like, you just need to calm down. We got to try to go to sleep and this will be over. Like,
Yep. And if something hits us, well, at least we're asleep.
yeah.
We're not even gonna know it.
We're gonna die together.
Yep.
You're my friend, buddy.
That's fucking awesome, dude. Well, I think we're at like 3 hours.
God damn, we've just been in here talking that long.
We're not at 3 hours.
We're at
we're about
at time. It's 2:45.
That's
45 minutes of the second hour.
That has been like that for like 2 hours.
Okay, we're at 49 minutes of the second hour.
There's no way we've been here for 2 hours and 49
Yep.
minutes. I got out here past 4.
I'm telling you, that's what it says. right there.
I'm literally telling you right now that like time wise that is impossible.
So we're okay. It's an hour and 50 minutes. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's of the second hour. I forget how these
Right.
timers work. Right.
When,
so
when it hits
starts,
3, it'll actually be at 2.
That'll be 2.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
That feels like a lot more correct.
No, because we sat outside talking for like 10 or 15
That's
minutes before
true.
we even came
That's
in
true.
here.
Maybe my brain's like compiling.
So we're
the
like
whole time
almost
we've been
right
here.
at 2 hours. We made pretty good time.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It felt like 2 hours.
Do y'all have anything else drum wise that people need to hear?
I just want to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier about you being actually in a better spot. I'm not trying to put Hunter and I in a box when I say that.
No,
it's just
no. Dude, y'all are fucking incredible.
Corey's endpoint is just different than mine and Hunter's in reaching. Like, our process is all the
I
same.
think more what you're saying is I'm willing to explore more avenues for the same result,
Yes.
and y'all already know how to get there.
Right.
So y'all's finite endings are quicker, but I'm willing to where I might stumble upon something that wasn't supposed to work, but
Right.
does. And I've done that a couple of times
Yes, you
in
have.
a few songs where like the drum part has no business in the part, but that's what it is because it
Right.
fits, you know?
And the thing is that, like, when I was saying that, like, yours is unstoppable type thing. It's like when you write a drum part that you want to do and you feel really good about, you've never vocally said, I'm doing this, you can't change it. I think the rest of us subconsciously are just like, we're playing to Corey's part now.
Right.
And that's like when people are just like, oh, Justin, I bet you still wrote the song. It's like, Corey wrote this part. This part is Corey's. Like, there's no, just because I'm playing a riff that I came up with, this is all Corey's part.
Right.
Especially nepotism.
Well, yeah.
Nepotism was all you creating stuff that we have to commit to.
Even like the guitar parts for the first
Half of the song.
first half of the song, I mouthed out. I was like, do it like this, and then I would have like the beat, and then he added all the extra bits.
I'm gonna say up until the part where it goes to the jazz part,
yeah.
every single part except for lyrics was all you.
Yeah.
Bass, guitar, and drums. That's
Well, even
all
the
you.
idea of the lyrics was mine, but I
Yep.
didn't write the lyrics themselves because Todd had inadvertently wrote a song that literally fit.
He had lyrical ideas. He and I played the basis of what the song is now.
Like,
And Todd already had some stuff, and Todd goes, do it again.
Yep.
And then after that second run through, he was like, I have all the words. He's like, I have exactly how I'm going to do
That's
it.
the
And
fastest song we've ever
yeah,
written.
and that song has stayed exactly the same since.
that's badass.
The only thing that's different is I do the please, sir, take a seat. We'll get to your worthless complaints. That line. That's the only thing different. Everything else is exactly the same.
I love that fucking song.
I know you
It's
do.
so heavy. It's so ridiculous.
We haven't not ended with that song.
If we had a Devil Wears Prada song, that's it.
That's it for sure.
That's Zombie EP like a motherfucker.
I think we can all collectively agree that regardless of how good Devil Wears Prada was, is, or will be in the future, Zombie EP is the best thing they've ever put out.
I think it's one of the best records ever written.
I agree.
It was like
Conceptual records.
the heaviest thing like I had like to that time like heard.
It was ripping. It was so violent. That's a violent fucking record, and it's just a zombie thing. Like it has a
common theme.
Well, and that was the last thing that all of the original members were in, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure.
dude. It is, when you listen to it, it has like this atmosphere of violence, and you're just like, how did they convey this? How did
Yeah.
this happen?
The music sounds like the soundtrack to a zombie film.
Do we know who recorded that?
Joey Sturgis.
It was
Yeah, I'm
Joey
pretty sure. Yeah,
Sturgis.
it was still him.
At the height of his game too, dude. That guy changed fucking metal
Oh,
forever.
dude.
with
I mean,
his tones.
I
All
still-
of those fucking Rise Records bands that like,
Yeah, dude.
recorded with him.
And it's like you can hear a Kurt Ballou record.
Yep.
You can hear a Joey Sturgis record. You can hear a Matt Goldman record.
Yep.
And you can hear there's a Cameron Mizell. You may not recognize Cameron Mizell as much, like Memphis Mayfire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That drum sample and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's Cameron Mizell. So those four to me, growing up, those are albums that I knew who produced them, like without even thinking about it.
Yeah, that style, man.
Yeah.
See, I never even really knew that either until I started getting into recording music, which was years later. Like, I didn't know I didn't know that like that's a huge influence on why a record sound. Like the early Korn stuff was Ross Robinson, one of the biggest fucking producers in music of all time. But then when they step away from him, they start making these weird sounding albums. It's like, okay, so it's like the guy keeping the shit on track, the guy engineering it, the guy like the tones,
Right.
the shape of the tones, like every Matt Goldman record.
Adam D. You can always tell an Adam D. record too.
For sure. Well, technically, Under Oath, one of their albums was both, and it definitely
Two of them.
shows.
Define the Great Line and Lost in the Sound.
Lost in the Sound more so. 'Cause
Oh,
it got
easily.
way more experimental. Dude, that's a headphone album. I
I think
don't
that's
wanna, like review an
yeah.
album, but
Lost in the
God.
Sound is like my favorite Under
Well,
Oath album.
me too.
ever.
Well, I know all three of us definitely agree with that on the same point. But for a very, very long time, it's like I guarantee you, I can sing more songs and remember more songs from Chasing Safety or Define the Great Line. But I think that Lost in the Sound of Separation is the best sounding album in full,
Dude,
hands down today.
even live when they played it, I think they sounded some of their best they ever had live. Because that's when like Aaron went to that huge ass fucking floor tom that the head was just stretched across. It
Trash
didn't even
can
have
tom.
yeah, like they were doing all kinds of stuff, and like sonically they had pushed the farthest with that album, and live they were recreating it in a way that was giving somebody a completely new Under Oath experience.
I give a lot of credit that to Chris for creating the ambient sound behind everything.
man.
Well, to me, that's what made it so good. Is not only are Tim and James writing these different kinds of riffs, and all, well,
There
Tim,
are so many riffs in that album. Dude,
Yes.
there's so many guitar parts. I'm telling you, the best way to hear that record is in a set of headphones, in-ears, shitty ones, because it lets all the stuff peek through. When you listen to stuff that has the fake bass and the beats and shit,
yeah.
and
Or
all
they
those
like a lot of headphones like have limiters like
they
put
have
all over them.
exactly.
Yeah.
When you like, dude, the fucking earbuds, the Apple earpods, those are the dude, because they're not great, but they're not complete shit. They have like this nice middle. They're just a middle of the road set of phones. You can just put them in, dude. You can hear stuff that if you put it in your car, you'd never hear it. It would just disappear into the noise. And it's like all these underlying guitar parts. There's like these drums way off in the distance, or like
Yep.
these vocal harmonies that actually peek through because they're so low.
Well, and that's the album that they recorded a lot of the drum parts with two drummers at the same
Yes.
time as well. Which
And it's
is like,
also
cool.
recorded in fucking surround sound. And I don't know if you've done this before. If you have surround sound at your home, you
Put it
can
in
put
like
it
a
in.
home theater or
And
something
Aaron's,
like that.
there's a song, and the drums will literally go from the center channel all the way around your head. The fill goes around the room.
Damn, that's so cool. That's like getting so close to like binaural mixing and shit
Yeah.
like that. And like,
I think it's Dolby 6.1, I think.
at 5.1
mixing?
at least.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely at least 5.1, but I think they went as far as to add the sub frequencies to it. But dude, I did it once. I had a friend who had nobody has that shit anymore. Everybody's got a sound bar, so it really
Yeah.
doesn't fucking matter. But I had a friend who still had the old school surround sound. We listened to it. It was a trip, man. Listening to a song and the drums just go around your fucking head. It's like, what? It's like 3D drumming, dude. It's like being in the drum kit.
yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Living inside the bass drum.
Do you let's just do one more thing and then we can close it out. I want to go this is simple. This is just a fun question. What is your monitor list.
Like loudest to softest.
No, just like what is
What do you
what are
want
the
in the
things,
monitor?
What are, yeah, like that's
Okay.
I'm
Your,
always
your guitar.
yeah, I'm always
That's it.
like I'm such a simplistic dude. Like I don't know if you noticed at the show, but the literal only thing in our monitors was the samples. There was nothing else at the show
Damn.
Friday night besides samples. No vocals, no drums, no guitars, because the way me and Justin do everything, it's so roughneck. The way
Yeah.
everything we do is already so rough.
What I told Cox when he was like, what do you need for your monitor since you're going to be drumming 2 sets? And he's like, what do you need for Lame Johnny? And I was like, if you can give me Corey's guitar, that's fine. I was like, all I need to do is hear his guitar. It could be straight from his amp. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, all I need to do is hear that, and I know what I'm doing.
Well, remember when we toured, dude? We toured with a second cabinet, and it wasn't for the people; it was for me.
Yep.
And we would, and even if we had monitors, they'd be like, "What do you need in your monitor?" I was like, "I already got it."
Yeah,
It's just-
don't worry about me. I got it.
That's it, man. Just the guitar. That's it.
Yeah.
And kick and snare.
If it's applicable,
Right.
A
Yeah.
lot of places, you go, you're like the drums aren't even mic'd, so you're just hitting
Just
hard.
like, hey, you just got to
Well,
play hard, man.
I even have had people be like, "Man, I can't find a good place to hit this mic." I'm like, "Just get it close, dude." They're like, "Whatever." It's like, okay.
And I mean, and also to be fair, and for Todd's sake, Todd only needs a little bit. He needs a little bit of me,
he needs himself.
He needs himself so he can hear him,
He's a
and he-
vocalist that uses his own frequency.
right? And he needs just kick and snare from you. That's
Right.
it. He doesn't need bass. He doesn't. And it's no offense to Taylor or John or anything. He's like, you can cut all that out.
But it's because we didn't write to that.
Right.
Because the core members, we wrote drums, guitar, and vocals.
Yeah.
There was nothing
Just
else
the
in the room.
3 of us. Yeah.
So are you? I feel like, are you the opposite? Are you the picky guy?
I got 2 things.
Okay.
Really good sound system. The sound guy I can tell knows what he's doing. I'll be a special little flower all day, man.
Right.
Like I'll get everything perfect. I'm gonna want I want Brennan's guitar, some of Ben's bass. I want both their vocals, and I want a little bit of keyboard in there. And then I'm like, I'll be good.
And you're set.
Yeah. If I don't have enough time, I can tell the sound guy isn't like all there. There's just not a monitor. End of the day, I have to be able to hear Brennan's guitar.
That's it.
That's it.
Right.
And then I know where I am.
That's crazy to me because he's all over the place. He's not doing the majority of Brennan's parts are affected, higher, not really rhythmic or anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes not even, you can fucking barely hear him.
Right.
He's playing so soft.
See,
Mike-
that's crazy. That's the bare minimum that you need is Brennan's guitar to me.
I was gonna guess bare minimum for you would be keyboards and guitar.
Yeah. No, honestly, the keyboards help sometimes, but by and large, I don't need any keyboard. Like in Brennan's guitar, I think that's solely because before Couch Jackets was even a thing, Brennan and I went on a duo tour for 2 months with each other.
That's right.
And that's
You told me that.
every day playing music with just this guy. It's similar to what you guys talk about. I
Right.
look at his hands, I know what he's going to do. I look at his face, I know where he's going to take it. And I just hop right on it, and I know where we are regardless.
That's awesome. I like that, man. All right. This has been Crashcast, drumming episode.
This is a really, really good conversation.
I fucking loved it, man.
It was awesome.
I mean,
Completely organic, and we got to really dive deep into some shit.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna I want to do this again with some other drummer. Would you be down to come back on it?
Oh, dude, absolutely. This was so much fun. There was an amount of worry at first. I was like, oh my God, I got to go over here and I got to talk for a while. But if there's anything I feel confident talking about for forever,
Drumming.
especially with you guys, it's drumming, man.
We should do next time. We should do a drumming episode, but dive more into our own personal styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dive into not what we did, were our influences and stuff, but what we do in certain situations, how we cope with certain, especially stage setups. Because I know a lot of people, especially when they're starting out. We saw this a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to name names, but there's 2 different kinds of beginner drummers: those who are timid and those who are too
Oh,
comfortable.
yeah.
The guys who will just move other people's stuff without asking, the guys who will damage other people's equipment just to get their stuff in. And then there's the people who just will kind of be you almost have to, they're followers.
You have to
almost
you have to
lead
coerce them a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey man, why is your drum set still on the sidewalk? Come on, let's get it in here. Oh, okay, I didn't know. There's a level of confidence that comes with playing shows, but then there's also the new guy who thinks he knows what he's doing. That would be awesome.
Oh,
so
yeah.
no, so I I think for that episode, definitely have me and Hunter back on. If we can try to get DJ out, that'd be great.
Or I don't know if I told you this, but why am I blanking out on one of my best buddies' fucking
Brandon?
names? No, not Brandon. Sean Michelle, dude.
Brad.
Brad. Fuck. Yeah, he's moving back.
Yeah, you told me that, dude.
Okay.
Can you imagine having this type, dude? So yeah, come up with a list of questions
Yeah, I
about
should. And then I'm gonna
situations.
field questions to you
Field
guys.
questions to all. I mean, you would obviously have your own input too, but like you, me, Hunter, Brad, and DJ all in the same room,
Oh, man.
just discussing live situations.
Well, and that's four
Yeah.
completely different people, dude.
Yeah.
At that point. Like, we're all similar and we share our own things and we all have like similar views. Otherwise, we wouldn't be friends.
right.
But you're talking, that's not only is that 4 different brains or 5 different brains, but
Five entirely different styles of drumming.
exactly. Those are 5 very unique drummers. None of us are like the other one. I'd say me and you are probably the closest,
Definitely.
but only because of the heavy aspect. Me and you just like fast, loud, hard.
Right.
But whereas you're more articulate, I'm more passionate, and it definitely shows when you go to the show. Like, wow.
Hunter has the farthest technical grasp.
Oh, dude.
DJ has probably like pocket
Finesse.
finesse. Yeah, that's perfect.
I think Bradley's more pocket because he was with Sean so long.
just groove.
Him and Seth, dude, are the best fucking rhythm section. Like, I maybe have ever heard.
I can't really disagree with that immediately.
I think
So,
DJ is the most finessed drummer. And I think Hunter, as far as just the people in the room, I think you're the most suave, technical. Like,
Yeah.
you make technical look a certain way where you almost, I laugh, dude. I giggle so much when y'all are playing because I'm like, dude, me and him will look at each other and I just fucking pull my hair back like, God damn it, dude, we fucking suck.
whenever we came and saw you guys, when we played with you guys at Sticky's with Ghost Bones, because we were up near the front over by Brennan's side, and there was like,
When they dropped that new track on us and that fill,
yeah, when y'all dropped that new song and you did that crazy Phil, Corey looks at me, he goes, "We suck." He's like, "We're garbage." I was like, "God damn, you're right."
dude. But anyway, so dude, thanks fucking Hunter, man.
Dude,
for
yeah,
coming
dude.
out.
Thank
This
you
has been
guys
so
for
much-
having
His
me
name's
over,
Law,
man.
Hunter Law. not
Hunter Law.
Hunter
Well,
Man.
I didn't know if
Right.
you wanted his last name out there.
Dude,
Who
no.
gives a
Hunter
shit?
Martin Law. The last 4 of my social are.
My blood type is this. I'm this high, this tall. I'm an
Guys,
organ
we're
donor.
like I said earlier in the episode, we're on fucking everything now. I think we're on everything, dude. As much as I want to be.
Dude, we're on Spotify. That's all I care about.
Like,
yeah.
we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on YouTube, we're on fucking Castbox, Podbean,
Vanilla
just so
Sky.
much. SoundCloud now.
Butt chug.
I'm actually going to promote the SoundCloud a little bit later. This will come out who knows when. I'm
Hey,
just
don't forget to put the link to their.
no, I've already got
artist.
it. I've already got it saved in my notes. I've been
Fuck
taking
yeah.
notes
Oh,
as
dude,
we go.
thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
to the Audio Tree Performance. And if you guys want to join in on the conversation, we're on social media. All things Crashcast Pod, and on Twitter it's Crashcast Pod, then the number 1 because Twitter is fucking ridiculous. But if y'all are done, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. That was awesome.
You're good. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Please like and subscribe and rate us on, I think it's iTunes that does the rating systems. Give us whatever, dude. And join the conversation on the social media page. It would be really awesome to fucking talk to other people who have different opinions than ours. Other than that, bye.